Li Long Immortal Emperor was different to Wu Hui Immortal Emperor. Although this dimension affected him greatly, it wasn't as bad as it was for Wu Hui Immortal Emperor. Li Long Immortal Emperor was different to Wu Hui Immortal Emperor. Although this dimension affected him greatly, it wasn't as bad as it was for Wu Hui Immortal Emperor. Yet, Yi Mo had the upper hand in the clash with the help of the dragon horse and his immortal god body. How was this possible? Was Yi Mo an immortal emperor, but just hid his power to immortal king? Yi Mo was also sighing. Although he hunted Wu Hui Immortal Emperor, he would be struck away if he fought Wu Hui head-on. He used his immortal god body to give Wu Hui Immortal Emperor so much annoyance. But now, he truly felt his progress. He could fight head-on with Immortal Emperor Middle Stage Li Long Immortal Emperor. With Shadowless's help, he didn't retreat a single step, and Li Long Immortal Emperor was struck back instead. Li Long Immortal Emperor was different to Wu Hui Immortal Emperor. His power was far stronger than Wu Hui Immortal Emperor. Even Xian Feng Immortal Emperor was far weaker than Li Long Immortal Emperor during Immortal Emperor Middle Stage. Even so, he still had the upper hand. This meant that when he went out now, ordinary Immortal Emperor couldn't point fingers at him anymore. But Yi Mo also knew that there was still quite some distance between him and the top Immortal Emperors. Li Long Immortal Emperor retreated, but Yi Mo didn't let him go. He released Sisu again and smashed another crevice over. At the same time, he expanded his domain. His spirit sense was very powerful. His immortal monarch domain was no weaker than ordinary immortal emperor. Feeling Yimo's powerful domain and Shadowless come up, Li Long Immortal Emperor immediately knew that he was no match for Yi Mo here. If he was caught by Yimo's domain, he would suffer greatly even if he can get away. Plus, he found out from other immortal emperors that Yi Mo was a madman. He chased Wu Hui Immortal Emperor for 2 months or so. Thinking about this, Li Long Immortal Emperor didn't want to keep fighting Yi Mo. Even if he was to, it would be after he left this dimension. Li Long Immortal Emperor spun and disappeared in a dashing light. Yi Mo looked at the direction with a bleak face. He knew that if he chased up, he would be able to find Li Long Immortal Emperor, but Yi Mo didn't have that much time to chase him. Neither He Chong nor Xian Feng Immortal Emperor thought that Li Long Immortal Emperor would run away. Xian Feng Immortal Emperor turned to run without saying anything. If he didn't go now, it would be staying to die. Ha ha, Yi Mo, I saw right of you indeed. He Chong immediately reacted. He didn't chase Xian Feng Immortal Emperor, but raised his thumb to Yi Mo. Then he pointed at Shadowless. This dragon horse is so powerful. It can even devour domain and god art. What in the world can it devour? I'm afraid even the legendary Shadowless worm is so. Yi Mo didn't hide it and pointed at Shadowless. This is evolved from Shadowless worm. Shadowless heard this and raised his head pridefully. Brother He Chong, how come most of the Immortal Emperor don't know you? Are you not from the 33 heavens? Yi Mo asked. He Chong smiled and said, I am from the 33 heavens. I originally came from Middle Heaven Domain, Ji Yao Heaven. I was swept into a void crevice when I was crossing the void. In there, I had my fortune, and after tens of thousands of years, I reached Immortal Emperor Middle Stage from Immortal Monarch Middle Stage. Now, I even reached Immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage. Seeing Yi Mo days, He Chong Immortal Emperor said, I found a heritage in the void and used up almost all my resources to reach Immortal Emperor. Only when I reached Immortal Emperor Middle Stage did I find an opportunity to leave that crevice. But when I left, I didn't get back to the Immortal Realm lands and came in here again. No wonder the other Immortal Emperor didn't know him. By the way, Brother He Chong, how did you suddenly reach Immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage? How did that Xian Feng Immortal Emperor reach Immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage? Yi Mo asked. Yi Mo, you really hid your power level. He Chong saw that Yi Mo could see his cultivation level and replied in shock. Yi Mo nodded, yes, I'm actually an immortal monarch. Although I don't fear that long brows, my power level is probably the lowest here, so I hid my cultivation level. No wonder, He Chong said, and then added, don't feel bad about yourself. Although that Xian Feng Immortal Emperor is Immortal Emperor tertiary stage, he's probably no match for you. Yi Mo nodded. Xian Feng Immortal Emperor was weaker than Li Long Immortal Emperor. When he was Immortal Emperor middle stage, he was only a little bit stronger than Wu Hui Immortal Emperor. Even if he left the space, Yi Mo didn't fear him with Shadowless's help. Two of these bastards chase me. Otherwise, how can I fear them? He Chong Immortal Emperor cursed, and then said there's a huge palace inside. There's no lethal force in that palace. It's not only quiet, but also has abundant immortal spirit chi. You know that palace, right? Yi Mo nodded. Yes, Ji Lei Immortal Emperor told me. I haven't gone in yet because I'm all alone. I was planning to go in when I'm stronger. Let's go, we can go there together. Us two plus your shadowless worm. We won't even fear an Immortal Emperor peak. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, immediately said, I'm shadowless, don't call me other things. Shadowless said unhappily, ha ha. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, laughed and said to Yi Mo, that palace probably isn't something of the immortal realm. No one knows where it came from. After the Grand Emperors broke open the restrictions, a huge yard appeared. Spirit sense couldn't even scan to the edge of the yard. There were countless restrictions and a space formation door inside. The space formation door is very strange. Only those who can open it can go in. Yi Mo immediately focused. After experiencing Title Status Tower, he knew that there were realms that had disappeared. When he was given his title, he saw a few sentences, and one of them was, the God realm has disappeared. The stars are hidden. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, didn't know what Yi Mo thought, and kept saying those restrictions were very hard to open. Some people can't even open one in years. I worked with other immortal emperors and spent nearly a decade to open one. Inside the restriction was a blue fruit. This fruit can allow an immortal emperor to break through without any side effects, but everyone can only have one. What's shocking is that no one can recognize what fruit it is. Yi Mo called out in shock. Then wouldn't it be like a Du Luo heaven fruit? Du Luo heaven fruit could let people below great immortal break through once. That's right, it would be the Du Luo heaven fruit of immortal emperors. I was lucky to get two. Xianfeng got one. I don't know if it's useful for you, but you can have this one. Then He Chong, Immortal Emperor, took out a jade box and gave it to Yi Mo. Yi Mo opened the box and saw an extremely blue fruit. It had no smell and looked ordinary. Yi Mo couldn't recognize what fruit this was. Closing the jade box, he gave it back to He Chong, Immortal Emperor. Even if I don't use this fruit, I will be reaching Immortal Monarch tertiary stage soon. As long as I don't reach Immortal Emperor, this fruit would be a waste to give to me. You can keep it. When I need it, I'll ask for it. Okay. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, then said I had conflict with that long brow due to this fruit. Long brows was speaking bad things about you in the palace. I didn't like it and rebuked. However, the two were already scheming to rob my fruit. As soon as I left, the two bastards gained up on me. I had no help, so I could only run while asking for help from you. Then are the 4 Grand Emperors also in the palace? Yi Mo asked. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, shook his head. The stronger people went into the space formation door. The weaker ones can only stay there to break restriction and find all sorts of immortal spirit items to improve their power in hopes of opening the door. I'm not strong enough to open the space formation door, so I can only stay with the other immortal emperors in the palace. Yi Mo said without hesitation, let's go, we'll go to the palace. Yi Mo didn't have much to worry hearing that the few grand emperors weren't there. This is the palace. Yi Mo stood before an extremely ancient palace and asked, according to the jade slip Ji Lei, immortal emperor gave him. The palace was here too. This is the palace. Yi Mo stood before an extremely ancient palace and asked, according to the jade slip Ji Lei, immortal emperor gave him. The palace was here too. Yeah, it's here. He Chong, immortal emperor, replied. He had fully recovered with Yi Mo's supply of pills. The palace had no gate. It was pitch black inside, and one couldn't see the surroundings of the palace clearly. One could only touch some obscure things with spirit sense. All the lethality of this dimension warped around the palace and disappeared. Yi Mo just stood at this palace and watched from a brief moment before saying, "Let's go in first." Then he took Shadowless into the palace. He Chong, immortal emperor, followed closely. In the palace, Li Long, immortal emperor, ran off first and didn't tell Xian Feng, immortal emperor, so the two didn't speak here. Xian Feng was quite annoyed Li Long ran off alone. The other immortal emperors glanced at them strangely, but didn't ask. Li Long, immortal emperor, and Xian Feng, immortal emperor, clearly went to hunt He Chong, immortal emperor, but now they were back, and there was no signs of He Chong, immortal emperor. He was probably dead. As for the two appearing not to be so harmonious, there was probably some discord on the division of loot. "You dare to come here?" Li Long, immortal emperor, immediately saw Yi Mo and yelled. After he yelled, he immediately realized if Yi Mo really fought with him, he wouldn't be able to get help. Yi Mo ignored Li Long, immortal emperor, and went into the palace. His spirit sense scanned this palace and glanced at the shocked looks of the other immortal emperors. He saw Zhang Ren, immortal emperor, who nodded at him. This palace was extremely huge, and there was a faint light formation. People could see the layouts of the palace clearly. There were more than 10 cushions that had extremely dense, immortal spirit qi seeping out. In the middle of the palace, there was an extremely ancient qi swirling around, making Yi Mo feel he returned to the ancient times. Yi Mo studied the palace, and the other immortal emperors said nothing. When Yi Mo was still immortal king, Xian Feng, immortal emperor, was very cocky to Yi Mo, but now when Yi Mo scanned his eyes over, he quickly lowered his head. He really didn't want to have conflict with Yi Mo. Ha! Sect leader Yi, long time no see. Zhang Ren, immortal emperor, reached immortal emperor tertiary stage. He greeted Yi Mo. Yi Mo saluted with his fists. Indeed, Zhang Ren Qianbei, Zhang Ren, immortal emperor, saw that Li Long, immortal emperor, just yelled at Yi Mo once and said nothing more. How could he not know that this guy suffered in Yi Mo's hands just like Wu Hui? Seeing how Xian Feng, immortal emperor, didn't even say anything, he guessed that Xian Feng, immortal emperor, was probably scared of Yi Mo. He then smiled. "Sect leader Yi, you can just call me Brother Zhongren. I don't dare to be some Qianbei." Yi Mo didn't care that much. The respect in the immortal realm was determined by power. Now that his power was no weaker than Zhang Ren, immortal emperor, Yi Mo saluted with his fists. "Okay, after I take care of some business, I'll come and chat with Brother Zhang Ren." Although there were 7 or 8 people here who hadn't seen Yi Mo, they've long heard of Yi Mo's name. Seeing Zhang Ren, immortal emperor, so polite to Yi Mo, and Yi Mo was indeed an immortal king middle stage. Everyone was dazed. Was an immortal king middle stage really that powerful? But Shadowless caught more attention. Shadowless had golden wings, and indeed looked like a dragon horse. However, he was uglier than a horse. The reason Yi Mo kept his power hidden at Immortal King middle stage was to tell people his cultivation level was long at Immortal Monarch. He just kept his power hidden, that's all. Okay, no problem. Zhang Ren, immortal emperor, smiled. He knew that it was probably to do with Li Long, immortal emperor, and Xian Feng, immortal emperor. Yi Mo then turned to Li Long, immortal emperor, long-browed bastard. You robbed my dustless fruit, and dares to ask me why I dare to come here. I want to see how strong you are. Shadowless, cut off their escape. We'll have our revenge here. Seeing the strongest here was only Immortal Emperor tertiary stage, and the Immortal Emperor peak stages weren't here. Yemo felt assured. As long as people like Feng Kong Grand Emperor weren't here, he didn't need to worry at all. If Feng Kong Grand Emperor was here, he would run away immediately. He Chong Immortal Emperor admired Yemo, seeing that he was looking for Li Long's trouble as soon as he came. Even he didn't dare to challenge Li Long here. Who knew if he had help here? Yemo, do you have no shame? When did I take your dustless fruit? I just robbed an empty box. You cunning bastard. You let me take an empty box, and now you come back asking for dustless fruit. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was furious. Yemo didn't attack immediately. He watched to see if there would be people to help Li Long, Immortal Emperor, as he sneered. So this means it's right of you to rob my things? If you put away what was in my box and say, you stole an empty box, do I need to compensate you? Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was lost for words. Dao friends, please uphold justice. This guy is merely immortal king power, and he dares to frame me for robbing his dustless fruit. He's too shameless. Li Long knew he was probably no match for Yemo and Shadowless alone. Even those few Immortal Emperor breaking restriction in the backyard of the palace came in to watch. No Immortal Emperor was dumb here. No one said anything. If Yemo was really an immortal king, why do you not go up but instead wait for us to bring justice? Do you think other people are idiots? Yemo also saluted with his fists. I'm Mo, you immortal sect leader, Yemo. Of course, I hid my power a little. I just hope that when I seek justice, no one twists the truth. Otherwise, you will be fighting against Mo, you immortal sect. As long as I don't die, I will visit you one by one. Yemo was helpless. He didn't have the power, so he could only threat. Ha! I've decided to join Mo, you immortal sect. If anyone decides to twist the truth, I will visit them with sect leader. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, laughed. Hearing this, Yemo rejoiced, but he didn't have time to talk to He Chong yet. He saluted with his fists. I'm about to reach level 9, Immortal Pill Grand Master. Those Immortal Emperor friends who wish to uphold justice can come to my MOU Immortal Sect for pill concoction in the future. I would welcome you all greatly. Yemo knew that many people would feel annoyed about his threat, and might even attack him due to that. So he threw out that he was about to be level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master, which Immortal Emperor didn't want to connect with a level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master. Although there wouldn't be people overtly speaking for Yemo, some Immortal Emperor had come over to chat with Yemo. No one believed Yemo would lie. Yemo wouldn't dare to lie in front of so many Immortal Emperors unless he was dumb. Li Long, Immortal Emperor's face went pale. He didn't expect Yemo was about to reach level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master. If that was the case, no matter how right he was, not many would want to help him. Friends, after I deal with my private matter here, pill concoction will be easy. Yemo saluted with his fists. The Immortal Emperors here knew that Yemo was going to resolve personal issues with Li Long, so they stopped talking. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was very annoyed. If Yemo wasn't going to reach level 9, Immortal Pill Grand Master, he could get a few help. But with this, no one would stand on his side. Shadowless roared, seeing that his boss had stabilized the situation. He was ready to devour Li Long, Immortal Emperor's domain. Without even fighting, Yemo had an Immortal Emperor tertiary stage on the side, and a maniac that could devour domain. Li Long knew he had lost without needing to fight. What do you want? Li Long, Immortal Emperor, looked hatefully at Yemo. Yemo felt satisfied. He knew he couldn't kill Li Long, Immortal Emperor here, even if other Immortal Emperors didn't attack. Yemo was using the excuse of dustless fruit to reap some benefits. Seeing that Li Long, Immortal Emperor, asked, Yi Mo said, Jile, immortal emperor, gave me the price of 40 immortal range for the dustless fruit. 20 of them are extreme grade. There's also 150 immortal spirit herb on top of that. Decide for yourself. Yi Mo was using the excuse of dustless fruit to reap some benefits. Seeing that Li Long, immortal emperor, asked, Yi Mo said, Jile, immortal emperor, gave me the price of 40 immortal range for the dustless fruit. 20 of them are extreme grade. There's also 150 immortal spirit herb on top of that. Decide for yourself. Yi Mo added 10 more immortal range. Since he didn't need Jade Flow Voidwood, he didn't say it. Seeing Shadowless and He Chong, immortal emperor, who were keen to jump in, Li Long, immortal emperor, knew that he fell for it today. He took out a storage ring and gave it to Yi Mo. I only have these things. If you're not happy, then let's fight it out. He gave the things, but he couldn't lose his face. Li Long, immortal emperor, said, as though he knew that Yi Mo wouldn't regret. Yi Mo looked at the storage ring. There were 9 extreme grade immortal range, and 27 middle grade, and top grade immortal range. Other than this, there were 10s of level 7 and above immortal spirit herb, as well as 10,000 extreme grade immortal crystals. Yi Mo was planning on getting as much as he could. He knew that Li Long, immortal emperor, definitely didn't take out everything. But if he asked for more, there would be a huge fight. Yi Mo didn't want to fight now, so thinking about this, he nodded. This is it then. Li Long, immortal emperor, breathed easy, and the other few immortal emperor on the side also breathed easy. If Yi Mo was to really fight, they could only persuade. They couldn't just watch Li Long, immortal emperor, getting killed. Yi Mo put away the storage ring and smiled to He Chong, immortal emperor. Brother He Chong, you're an immortal emperor elder of our Mo, you immortal sect now. He Chong also laughed. I didn't expect I was able to join the sect of a level 9 immortal pill grand master. This is my luck. Then He Chong said seriously to Yi Mo, sect leader, my name is Long Huang Tian, title He Chong. Yi Mo was happy thinking about an immortal emperor joining his sect. He didn't hide his title and said, my title is Eternity, Immortal King. Before Yi Mo finished this, almost all the immortal emperors looked at Yi Mo. Yi Mo saying he was about to be a level 9 immortal pill grandmaster was shocking enough, but this title was going to shock the world. Ever since the immortal realm had the title status tablet, no one had ever gotten eternity. Eternity meant eternal life. Who dared to use such title for himself? There were many powerful titles in the immortal realm, and even all sorts of god titles, but not eternity. Sect leader, are you really Eternity, immortal king? This He Chong, immortal emperor, asked dazedly. Yi Mo smiled. Just call me Eternity, immortal king. Even if there's no such title on the title status tablet, I can name it myself. Okay, haha. He Chong, immortal emperor, raised his thumb at Yi Mo. He admired Yi Mo's force. Every title was unique, so once you made others feel unhappy about your title, they could challenge you. For example, Sword King, if you got such title, then other sword immortals might feel you don't deserve it, so you would have to accept all sorts of challenges. Yi Mo's title was more powerful than any other title, but this way, no one would challenge him, as this title didn't involve a specific domain. It just meant longevity and eternity. Usually those who gave themselves such title were madmen, or those who liked to fool themselves, who would start conflict with such people. Yi Mo was clearly thought to be such person by the immortal emperors here. His title didn't show on the title status tablet, so clearly he named it himself. Of course, if this title really appeared on the Immortal King tablet, it would be something else. The Eternity Immortal King approved by the Immortal King tablet was no simple matter. It would cause shockwaves across the entire immortal realm. It would even catch the attention of divine emperors. Every title on the Immortal King tablet had a special meaning and was made based on the unique attribute of each person. There was no mistake. Sect leader Yi, I'm Diu. I come from Qing, Wei Heaven Martial Emperor sect. This palace is ancient, according to the judgment of the few grand emperors. It doesn't belong to the immortal realm. We found large sums of restrictions and formation at the back of the palace. If sect leader Yi don't mind, you can join us and we can break the restriction together. Someone came over. Even if Yi Mo just stayed as level 8 Immortal Pill Grand Master, people wouldn't want to miss out on the chance to connect with him. As soon as Diu Immortal Emperor invited, a few more Immortal Emperor invited Yi Mo, Zhengren Immortal Emperor squeezed in front and said, Sect Leader Yi, we already know each other. Why don't you and He Chong Immortal Emperor join my squad? Our restriction is almost done. I believe we can finish it in a few years. Everyone invited Yi Mo, but no one called him Eternity Immortal King. This title was too unrealistic. Every immortal emperor here had lived for countless years. Yi Mo saluted with his fists around. I'm planning to go with He Chong, Immortal Emperor, to the back. Regardless, Yi is very happy to meet so many immortal Dao Qianbais here. As long as I can go out, Yi is very happy to concoct pills for everyone. Although Yi Mo said Qianbei, his tone clearly meant that he treated them as equals. The other immortal emperors were just being polite now that Yi Mo didn't want to go with them. No one would keep inviting. Sect leader Yi spoke clearly that he was willing to concoct pills, but not for free. After the discord was settled, everyone went back into the backyard again. Yi Mo and He Chong Immortal Emperor went in too. After coming in here, he saw that the immortal spirit qi here was extremely dense, and his spirit sense couldn't seem to scan to the end. Waves of restrictions were very clear. Even the space formation door was clear. You can't scan to the end with your spirit sense in here, and there's no way to enter the backyard. However, you can try to open the restrictions here. There's extreme grade immortal spirit fruit, as well as top-level immortal materials. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, explained. Zhengren, Immortal Emperor, also nodded. Brother He Chong is right. There are top-level things in every restriction. The best is the blue fruit. Brother He Chong got two. Although we don't know what fruit it is, it can let Immortal Emperor break through a level. The only pity is that it's too hard to break open a restriction here. It might even take more than 10 years. Speaking of this, Zhengren Immortal Emperor subconsciously looked at the formation door and sighed. It's even harder to open that void formation door. Other than the 5-peak Immortal Emperors, no one else has been able to open it. Yi Mo went to a random wave restriction and felt it with his hand. He immediately felt the complexity of this restriction. This was a restriction he had never seen before. The means with which it was made was also completely different to the ordinary restrictions of the immortal realm. Yi Mo went to a random wave restriction and felt it with his hand. He immediately felt the complexity of this restriction. This was a restriction he had never seen before. The means with which it was made was also completely different to the ordinary restrictions of the immortal realm. This restriction can only be solved but not forced open. If you break it by force, there would be an even greater repulsion force, and everything inside the restriction would be ruined. I worked with them for nearly 10 years before we broke one of the restrictions. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, added on the side. He was also hinting Yi Mo that they wouldn't be able to open a restriction just by themselves. Yi Mo didn't seem to hear it and kept feeling the restriction. After a while, he said to He Chong, Immortal Emperor, I've never seen such restriction before indeed. Brother He Chong, go find another restriction and try to solve it or work with Zhengren, Immortal Emperor. I need to study this restriction. It might take a while. Hearing this, He Chong shook his head. He knew that everyone who saw this for the first time wanted to see if they could solve it alone. In fact, after decades, rarely could anyone solve the restriction alone other than those few grand emperors. Even if they could, it wasn't a matter of a year or two. Yi Mo was different to the rest. He really had confidence. Touching this restriction seemed like seeing a new gate to him. He wanted to settle down and use the three-birth chant to derive these restrictions. Even though Yi Mo set down barrier restriction, no one cared. It was very common to do this. Soon, Yi Mo immersed in the derivation of the restrictions. The three-birth chant's Tao waves were blocked by the barrier restriction, but some still seeped out. However, the immortal spirit chi of this place was extremely dense, and there were ancient kais. Thus, the Tao waves weren't very eye-catchy. Sets of new restriction methods and theory were derived by Yi Mo and soon incorporated into his formation Tao. Restriction was a part of formation. When Yi Mo sunk into the derivation, his formation skills increased drastically too. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, didn't ask to join Zheng Ren, Immortal Emperor's team. Their restriction was almost done. If he asked to join in now, it would be like asking for a free share. He found a restriction not far from Yi Mo and tried to solve it alone. A year later, He Chong, Immortal Emperor, saw that Yi Mo was still deriving inside the barrier restriction. He couldn't hold himself anymore. Yi Mo definitely wouldn't be able to break open it in a short time. There were 2 restrictions open already, and one of them had 3 Emperor Carrot. The other restriction had 2 primordial soul stones. Both things were invaluable. Emperor Carrot is one of the best level 9 immortal spirit herb in the immortal realm and the main immortal spirit herb for concocting Great Way Emperor Pill. This pill gave immortal monarchs 30% extra chance of reaching Immortal Emperor compared to the other Emperor Pillar pill made with level 9 immortal spirit beast core. It was much higher caliber. The 2 were incomparable. Another half a year later, Yi Mo suddenly opened his eyes and threw out a few hand signs. The restriction he had been deriving for a year and a half easily opened. A space of a few cubic meters appeared before him. An ancient jade vase with floral carvings sat peacefully inside. But Yi Mo felt this vase wasn't simple. There were restrictions wrapping the outside of this vase. One spirit sense couldn't go in at all. By now, Yi Mo realized that this restriction was completely different to immortal realm restriction means. If immortal realm restrictions were the basics, then the restrictions here were a new system after changing all sorts of basics. This means showed Yi Mo a completely new world to formation. After opening this world, he could fly free and devour all sorts of formation and restriction means. In a short year, his formation skills suddenly improved. Most importantly, his knowledge of formation was far beyond his original state. The 3-birth chant could derive everything, but Yi Mo couldn't use it to create everything. He could only derive things if new things appeared, and then expand on that. After taking this vase, Yi Mo opened his barrier restriction. Yi Mo saw that everyone was focused on their own restriction, and even Yi Chong was with another team solving restriction. Yi Mo didn't call him. For the second restriction, Yi Mo only used half a month to solve it. There was a fist-sized white stone. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense into the stone, and his spirit sense felt very comfortable. The fatigue from solving restrictions were instantly gone. Other Immortal Emperor saw Yi Mo break the second restriction. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, charged up to Yi Mo and asked Sect Leader, "You know how to solve the restriction here?" Seeing all the Immortal Emperors come over, Yi Mo didn't hide it. "That's right. I've indeed mastered the way to solve the restriction here, but this method uses up a lot of spirit sense. After solving 2 restrictions, my spirit sense will retreat a lot. It would indeed use up some spirit sense, but with Yi Mo's spirit sense power, he could recover very quickly." Hearing this, some Immortal Emperor's eyes were glistening. Yi Mo started to solve the 3rd restriction. Yi Mo only needed 2 days to open it, but since all those Immortal Emperors were watching, Yi Mo could only waste half a month of time before opening it. Inside was a small blue tree with 5 fruits hanging on it. It's this fruit. One can allow an immortal emperor to break through once. He Chong, immortal emperor, immediately called. Those immortal emperors who hadn't got this fruit were looking at it with red eyes. Yi Mo took the tree immediately. Yi Mo, let's continue. There's so many restrictions here. He Chong, immortal emperor, said. Yi Mo knew that if he really did, that he would be over. He waved his hand. Brother He Chong, that probably won't do. It's easy to solve these restrictions, but it's a huge consumption on my spirit sense. According to my calculations, we can at most solve 99 restrictions here. If we go beyond that, there will be huge trouble. Yi Mo just had that feeling, but his skills weren't high enough to guess an exact number. So he said 99. Then your intention is sect leader Yi? A rather coarse voice said. Then your intention is sect leader Yi? A rather coarse voice said. Yi Mo looked at this person. He knew this person. They had chatted before. He was called Nong Yen, immortal emperor tertiary stage from Jinshang heaven. Yi Mo thought and said, with my own power, I can at most open 7 or 8 of these, and I would receive backlash. However, I have another method, and that is I tell everyone how to open the restriction. You can use your own immortal essence and spirit sense to solve the restriction. Although it would be quite taxing, it's better than solving all the restrictions myself. Good. Sect leader Ye's idea is great. We definitely won't let sect leader Yi waste spirit sense for no reason. We will give you payment. All the nearby immortal emperor clapped in approval. They already guessed that Yi Mo was lying, and they knew that Yi Mo said this, so everyone won't get angry at him for taking everything. Sect leader Yi, may I ask how long it would take to solve a restriction after you teach us? Nong Yen, immortal emperor, asked. Yi Mo thought for a while and said that would depend on people's cultivation level. If it's someone like you, I believe 3 to 5 months would be enough. Sect leader Yi, I have an emperor carrot here. I want to trade for a blue fruit from sect leader Yi. At the same time, I want to ask sect leader Yi to teach me how to solve on restriction. An immortal emperor walked up to Yi Mo with a jade box. He could tell that Yi Mo was an immortal emperor, yet so Emperor Carrot was very important to him. Hearing this, Yi Mo was indeed a bit excited, but he soon forced himself to stay calm. If it was outside, he would definitely be overjoyed to trade an Emperor Carrot for a blue fruit and restriction-solving method. But in here, Yi Mo wasn't that dumb. He Chong, immortal emperor, saw this and said, sect leader, this friend got his Emperor Carrot here. Yi Mo understood and smiled. Even if your Emperor Carrot can barely trade for my blue fruit, but you still want me to teach you restriction, I'm at too much of a loss. The other immortal emperors looked on the side and said nothing. Although it was Yi Mo discussing business with this immortal emperor, they could use that price too once it was settled. Seeing this immortal emperor daze, Yi Mo suddenly said, each restriction here would take me some time and a lot of effort to know what to do. My spirit sense isn't deprived right now, but once it is, and there are mistakes, then it would take longer to solve the restriction. I'm actually more interested in immortal range. I'll give 3G immortal range for one restriction solution. One immortal emperor couldn't bear waiting and named his price. Yi Mo didn't answer clearly as he wasn't happy with this price. The immortal emperor saw this and added 2 more, 5 immortal range. 5 extreme grade immortal range was a heavenly price outside, but here it wasn't so special. Everyone had extreme grade immortal range, and it could be dug at any time. Okay, friend, please point which restriction you want to solve, Yi Mo said. In a short half a day, Yi Mo marked the restriction solution on a jade slip and gave it to that immortal emperor. Seeing this immortal emperor start, the rest of the immortal emperors took out their immortal range and dealt with Yi Mo. The immortal emperor with Emperor Carrot quickly added another 5 extreme grade immortal ranges too. More than 10 days later, Yi Mo got tens of extreme grade immortal range. He was very happy with this. Almost everyone went to solve restriction, and so did he. 2 months later, someone had already solved a restriction. This was far quicker than Yi Mo had anticipated. At first moment, everyone else knew that the immortal emperor broke the restriction. Since everyone was working alone now, no one knew what he got, nor did he show what he got. However, from his joyful look, people could tell it wasn't bad. This immortal emperor immediately took out another 5 extreme grade immortal range, asking Yi Mo to teach him another one. Yi Mo came here for extreme grade immortal range, so he didn't reject it at all. He also took time seriously and solved a few more restrictions. This was him intentionally dragging it out. Otherwise, he would be able to do tens of restrictions. He didn't know anything that he got from the restrictions, but he could tell they weren't ordinary, so he threw it into his golden page world. As time went on, and the restrictions were solved, Yi Mo kept collecting extreme grade immortal range. When he had collected enough and people asked him for restriction help, he said with a pale face that if he kept doing that, his sea of consciousness might be damaged. Many people guessed Yi Mo was lying, but since he didn't go solve any more restrictions himself, they couldn't say anything. Plus, they exchanged immortal ranges for things that immortal ranges couldn't buy, so they didn't complain. Most of them left the palace to search for more immortal range. Yi Mo said that he would start solving the space formation door once he has rested up. If he did, then they might be able to leave as well. According to Yi Mo's words, he would only need a few years to solve it, so many immortal emperor went out searching for more immortal range during this time. When Yi Mo started to study the space formation door, he realized it was so much harder than the restrictions. They were from the same origin, but the difficulty was completely different. 3 years later, Yi Mo finally stopped studying. He had understood the space formation door. It wasn't something he could solve with his current cultivation level and formation skills, but once someone's cultivation reached a certain level, they could enter it even if they didn't understand formation. Hearing this, the rest of the immortal emperors were disappointed, but more of them chose to stay in the palace for solitary cultivation. Some with secrets chose to leave. He Chong stayed in here, but Yi Mo left this palace. He had enough resources now, and he needed to go find a place for solitary cultivation and to break through to immortal emperor. In the golden page world, Yi Mo used tens of extreme great immortal range, and the time formation disc ran for decades, but Yi Mo found in shock that no matter how he used immortal range, he couldn't progress anymore. Theoretically, Yi Mo should be able to progress to any level if he had enough cultivation resources. He cultivated the 3-birth chant and had the bitter bamboo. He almost had no bottleneck. When Yi Mo reached Immortal Monarch tertiary stage and couldn't progress after wasting tens of immortal range, he began to worry. He was still that one step away from Immortal Monarch peak stage. If he couldn't reach Immortal Monarch peak stage, then he couldn't reach Immortal Emperor, even if he had Tai Wei Emperor pill. Unable to cultivate, Yi Mo could only get out the things he got from the restriction and then study it again. He didn't know these 2 types of immortal spirit herb, but he was certain it was at least as good as clear spirit heart lotus, and that white jade stone that could nourish spirit sense. Yi Mo only knew it was good, but didn't know what it was. Unable to cultivate, Yi Mo could only get out the things he got from the restriction and then study it again. He didn't know these 2 types of immortal spirit herb, but he was certain it was at least as good as clear spirit heart lotus, and that white jade stone that could nourish spirit sense. Yi Mo only knew it was good, but didn't know what it was. At last, Yi Mo picked up the jade vase. He felt the thing inside this was the best. When Yi Mo's spirit sense carefully removed the restrictions, a frosty flow invaded his sea of consciousness, almost freezing his sea of consciousness. Real astral flame marrow, Yi Mo blurted out immediately. He knew that only the real astral flame marrow would be this cold and not freeze. The next moment, Yi-Mo put a restriction on the jade vase without hesitation. He almost couldn't contain his excitement. His blue like morning sky was about to reach level 6 immortal flame. If it reached level 6 immortal flame, and then devoured this astral flame marrow, it would definitely become a god flame, the number 1 flame of the immortal realm. He heard that Chua, he divine emperor, vindicated Tao through a flame. Although he wouldn't do that, the flame that devoured this would be the best of the best flame. By then, just how powerful would his heaven flame 9 suns be? When Yi-Mo got back to the palace, he was dumbfounded. There was not a single person left in this palace. Yi-Mo stepped in and found in shock that all the restriction had disappeared. Yi-Mo remembered clearly that only 10s of the restrictions were solved. How could there not be a single one left? Not only that, the space formation door was gone too. Yi-Mo immediately sent He-Chong Immortal Emperor a message, but there was no response. Shadowless, Yi-Mo immediately called out Shadowless. Even small ginseng came out since there was no one. Look at this. What is going on? Did everyone reach Immortal Emperor peak stage and then left through the space formation door? Even if they left, where's the space formation door? Yi-Mo looked at the two with confusion. This is still the same place, but I feel the restrictions have been moved. Shadowless came to this conclusion. Yi-Mo nodded. He felt Shadowless was right. This was still the same place, but everything else disappeared. Boss, would those people have left here already, and only we remain? Shadowless became nervous. What are you nervous about? Even if you leave, you would still be staying in the chaos world. There's no fucking difference. The only difference is if boss makes it out. Last time Xiaoyan, small ginseng suddenly thought of something and quickly stopped. Shadowless said in contempt, "You know nothing. Although that boss is immortal monarch power, he's not scared of even that phone calm. So when I go out, I no longer have to hide in the golden page world. But you, Small ginseng immediately showed a look of surprise and joy and said without hesitation, "You don't understand. If you can go out, so can I." Shadowless thought and agreed. Shadowless was right. Yi-Mo had devoured that many immortal ranges over the years. His cultivation level didn't increase, but that didn't mean his power didn't increase. His immortal essence power and sea of consciousness tenacity was no weaker than any immortal emperor. He even dared to test that Wuin immortal emperor from the Wujia Sound River. Yi-Mo longed from Mu Xiaoyan and Mou immortal sect, and if people have ascended from Mou city. But now he was trapped here, making him very desperate. He searched every corner of this palace, but still found nothing. Gong Hua Heaven Mou immortal city was the outer city of Mou immortal sect. Those who wanted to go into Mou immortal sect had to go through Mou immortal city. Ever since the sect was established, it went straight up. Immortal kings came one by one, and eventually it became the sect with the most immortal kings in the low heaven domain. At the same time, it also became the strongest sect in the low heaven domains. It was great fortune for any immortal to join Mou immortal sect. Everyone in the low heaven domains wanted to join. Mou immortal sect was strong and had a newly ascended level 7 immortal pale grand master Kumu. It was due to this that no one dared to start any trouble at Mou immortal sect nor Mou immortal city. But today was different. The formation outside the city was forcefully broken, and the 2 golden immortal city guards were crushed to death. Since Mou immortal city was so developed, news spread very fast. By the looks of it, people were going to completely stamp the Mou immortal city. This news spread extremely fast. Soon, countless immortals came to watch and see who had the power and confidence to start trouble at Mou immortal city. Qianbei, Mou immortal sect, and Mou immortal city has always obeyed the rules and never offended Qianbei. Why did Qianbei come start trouble here? Lu Feng immediately came up, and before her stood a man with a ferocious look. She had reached immortal king for a while, and could tell this man was at least immortal monarch power. If they fought, she couldn't resist at all. There were a few people behind this man. They were all immortal king power. 2 were even immortal king peak stage. Lu Feng had guessed who this person was, as she knew 2 of the people behind this immortal monarch. One was the Heaven Lord Alliance's Ji Dao immortal king Yangya. The other was by Qi immortal king Zhang Fengkai. Both of them came from Heaven Lord Alliance. The Heaven Lord Alliance had 2 immortal monarchs, Chang Tian immortal monarch Wei Guang, and Yu Xiang immortal monarch. Chang Tian, immortal monarch, hunted sect leader Luo and disappeared with Lu Jingquan. This person was definitely the other immortal monarch. Yuan Xiang, immortal monarch, was said to be much stronger than Chang Tian, immortal monarch. If Lu Feng knew an immortal monarch came, she would definitely not leave the sect. The sect protection formation was 100,000 void defense kill formation. Even an immortal monarch wouldn't be able to break it in a short time. The man sneered and said, "You immortal sect will cease to exist from today." Everything. Lu Feng's face changed and immediately said in shock, "Qian Bei, my you immortal sect." The man was more annoyed. Seeing Lu Feng interrupted him. "You're the sect leader of you immortal sect?" Qian Bei. Wan Bei is you immortal sect vice sect leader Su Jingwen. "Our sect has never intervened in any gong, Hua heaven matters, and usually we're very righteous. Why are you going to destroy us?" Su Jingwen was golden immortal tertiary stage now. You immortal sect had 5 immortal kings. Now, only Lu Feng and Ku Mu were here. Ku, only cultivated and concocted pills. As for Yin Hui, Hong Ling, and Ren Fu, they were out seeking resources and weren't in the sect. Otherwise, Yin Hui came from the Grand Heaven domains. She would be much more confident that Lu Feng. "You're the vice sect leader? A mere golden immortal?" The immortal monarch studied Su Jingwen in shock. Her cultivation speed was fast, and her looks were even better than before. "Yes, I'm a vice sect leader," Su Jingwen said. "Who is the sect leader to you? How can a mere golden immortal be vice sect leader?" The man yelled. He could guess who Su Jingwen was, but no matter if she was related to the sect leader or not, he had decided to take her away. He could guess who Su Jingwen was, but no matter if she was related to the sect leader or not, he had decided to take her away. Su Jingwen immediately knew things weren't good. She could tell from this person's tone that they had enmity with Yi Mo. Lu Feng was very cunning and knew things weren't good. Before Su Jingwen could talk, she saluted with his fist. "Qian Bei, our sect leader has an immortal spirit herb garden in the sect. There are more than 10 level 8 and above immortal spirit herb, and 1 emperor carrot. We're willing to give this over. Please let the you immortal sect go." "Emperor carrot," the immortal monarch repeated. He really couldn't believe he could hear those words here. "Take me to the emperor carrot," the immortal monarch said. Regardless of whether it's real or fake, he wasn't afraid of the 2 playing tricks. Lu Feng showed a hard face. "Qian Bei, why don't you wire it here, and we can take it for you?" "Ha ha." The immortal monarch laughed, and then he stared coldly at Lu Feng. "If you don't take out the emperor carrot today, you will regret living in this world. I won't even let a dog live in you immortal sect." Lu Feng's face changed. "A mere immortal monarch dares to annihilate my you immortal sect? Puffed. The emperor shall see how you're going to do it." A contemptuous voice sounded, and a middle-aged man suddenly appeared outside you immortal city. "You." The ferocious man looked at the middle-aged immortal in shock. The word emperor was too scary. Saying such word meant that this guy was an immortal emperor. Since when did you immortal sect have an immortal emperor? He didn't dare to believe it, but then he realized he couldn't see through the power of this person. The dominant pressure from this man made him realize this middle-aged immortal was an immortal emperor. Wanbei, Low Heaven Domain, Heaven Lord Alliance. Yuan Xiang, greet Immortal Emperor Master. The ferocious-looking man quickly bowed. Those few immortal kings behind didn't dare to show any disrespect. You just said you were going to annihilate Mo, you immortal sect? The immortal emperor said coldly. Yuan Xiang, immortal monarch, didn't have his previous dominance and quickly bowed. Wanbei, don't dare to. It's a misunderstanding. I was tricked by someone. Oh, I said nothing just then. How do you know it's a misunderstanding? The immortal emperor scorned. Xiang Yuan, immortal monarch, sweated. He didn't know this king's sect had an immortal emperor? Feeling the killing intent of this immortal emperor rising, Yuan Xiang quickly said Wanbei was appointed by Feng Kong and Dragon River Grand Emperor to coordinate the 11 low heaven domains. If Wanbei knew you were from Mo, you immortal sect, Wanbei definitely wouldn't dare to come. Xiang Yuan quickly brought out Feng Kong and Dragon River to show that he was their dog. Otherwise, this immortal emperor could easily kill him. This immortal emperor frowned when Yuan Xiang spoke of Feng Kong Grand Emperor, but then he raised his arm and hacked off Yuan Xiang immortal monarch's arm and took the storage ring on it before throwing the arm down. Yuan Xiang didn't dare to move. He wanted to say, if you wanted my ring, I'll take it off myself. No need to hack off my arm. Is that so? If you knew I was from Mo, you immortal sect, you wouldn't dare to come? I can only say you're lucky, because if sect leader Yi came back, I can assure you that you won't live. Piss off. Hearing this, Xiang Yuan, immortal monarch, carefully picked up his arm and left with a bow. After they all had left, Lu Feng said shakily, Mo, you immortal sect, Lu Feng, greet immortal emperor master. Thank you for helping. Lu Feng didn't dare to believe an immortal emperor was of Mo, you immortal sect. Even in the grand heaven domain, an immortal emperor would be respected everywhere. The immortal emperor smiled and waved his hand. No need to be so polite. Did you think I'm lying to you? Mo, you immortal sect, can't have a mortal emperor? Lu Feng dazed. How could she dare to say that an immortal emperor lied to her? The immortal emperor waved his hand. Although I'm not from Mo, you immortal sect, but they really do have an immortal emperor. Although that immortal emperor hasn't come. He will come eventually. Lu Feng and Su Jingwen were both dazed by the words of this middle-aged immortal emperor. The immortal emperor said again, you guys don't need to thank me. I know your sect leader Yi Mo. When he comes back, that immortal monarch will be nothing to him. The immortal emperor felt a little guilty. Those guys killed a few of Mo, you immortal sex people, but he let that immortal monarch go. To be honest, he didn't want to give Feng Kong Grand Emperor any excuse. Otherwise, Feng Kong Grand Emperor might kill him immediately. Hearing Yi Mo's name, Su Jingwen immediately became excited and asked Qian Bei, have you seen my husband? Where is he? Your husband, the immortal emperor asked with a frown. Lu Feng quickly explained, Jingwen is our sect leader, Ye's Dao partner, so she's very worried about sect leader Yi. Wanbei is too. Please tell us, Qian Bei. The middle-aged immortal emperor realized, and as an immortal emperor, he even saluted with his fist to Su Jingwen. So it's sect leader Ye's Dao partner. My bad. Sect leader Yi has helped me. I'm called Ji Lei. You guys can call me Ji Lei, immortal emperor. We don't dare to. Su Jingwen and Lu Feng answered. Ji Lei, immortal emperor, waved his hand. I respect sect leader Ye's power and character greatly. Although I haven't seen him, I know his power is far beyond mine now. I actually came to Gonghua Heaven to see if sect leader Yi was back, but I didn't see him, so I left. On the way, I heard other people say that people were attacking Mo, you immortal set, so I came back to look. That person has a strong background. I can't casually kill him, but I'm sure that once sect leader Yi is back, he won't be able to escape. This immortal emperor was Ji Lei, immortal emperor. He hid in the lethal force space for a while, and snuck back to the palace. Once there, he saw that almost all the immortal emperors were there. He didn't know Feng Kong Grand Emperor, and them had gone in the space formation door, so he didn't mind seeing them there. Nor did he care that there were only 4 out of the 5 immortal emperor peak stage, and the 4 of them were weakened. But Feng Kong Grand Emperor's words made him sink into the bottom. Feng Kong Grand Emperor just asked, is the dustless fruit on him, and he knew that he wouldn't be able to keep it. It was impossible to keep the dustless fruit as an immortal emperor middle stage. Although his heart was bleeding, he had to give the fruit to the shameless Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Luckily, Feng Kong Grand Emperor gave him a blue fruit, saying that it would help him reach immortal emperor tertiary stage. Due to this, he didn't like Feng Kong Grand Emperor, but he didn't dare to overly offend him, so he didn't kill that immortal monarch. With the dustless fruit, Feng Kong Grand Emperor organized all the immortal emperors to attack the void formation door, and then the door cracked open. A small whirlpool appeared next to it, and it shrunk rapidly. Some immortal emperors charged in, and Ji Lei followed. After going in, he realized he was sent back to the void. After decades of searching, he finally came back to the immortal realm, and then he came to find Yi Mo immediately. Ji Lei, immortal emperor, trusted Yi Mo's capabilities. He knew from He Chong, immortal emperor, that Yi Mo taught Li Long, immortal emperor, a lesson, and knew that He Chong, immortal emperor, joined Mou immortal sect. Ji Lei, immortal emperor, trusted Yi Mo's capabilities. He knew from He Chong, immortal emperor, that Yi Mo taught Li Long, immortal emperor, a lesson, and knew that He Chong, immortal emperor, joined Mou immortal sect. He came here wanting to ask if Yi Mo could take on Feng Kong Grand Emperor, but didn't expect that Yi Mo wasn't back yet. Not only so, He Chong, immortal emperor, didn't come back as well. Qian Bei, where can I find my husband? Su Jingwen asked nervously. This guy was an immortal emperor, the only one who knew news of Yi Mo. If he left, then it was all too hard to find news about Yi Mo again. Ji Lei, immortal emperor, shook his head. Even if you're immortal emperor power, it's impossible to find sect leader, Yi, much less you're in golden immortal. My suggestion is to cultivate here. I believe sect leader Yi will come back one day. Then Ji Lei, immortal emperor, took out a communication bead, as well as the storage ring. He took and gave it to Su Jingwen. I've removed the restriction on this storage ring. This communication bead is mine. If the sect needs my help, or if sect leader Yi is back, you guys can contact me. I'll be leaving first. As soon as Su Jingwen took the things, Ji Lei, immortal emperor, disappeared. Lu Feng looked at the empty grounds, and her heart went on fire. From Ji Lei, immortal emperor, she knew that their sect leader, Yi Mo, was on par with an immortal emperor. How could one not progress in a sect like this? Jingwen, let's go back to the sect first. Work hard on cultivation. Only once your power is high can you go find the sect leader. Lu Feng said excitedly. Su Jingwen handed the things to Lu Feng. Sister Lu, let's leave the things with you. I don't have any use for it. I'm worried that after all these years, there's still not a second person from Luo Yu continent who has ascended. Unable to find an exit in the palace, Yi Mo could only return to that dangerous space to keep searching for immortal range, and then cultivate. Time passed quickly, and Yi Mo's power rose up drastically. Constantly staying at this lethal force space, his body refinement cultivation broke through immortal god body primary stage and reached immortal god body middle stage. Later on, those lethal force couldn't even reach his body and was smashed away. At the same time, Yi Mo's immortal essence kept rising, as well as his spirit sense and sea of consciousness. His heaven flame, 9 suns, even formed the 7th blue sun. His transmission god art was near level 4. His space shatter god art increased multiple times, and his 5 lightning spear destruction god art became invisible. However, his cultivation level won't increase. No matter how many extreme great immortal ranges he devoured, his cultivation level was stuck at that little bit from Immortal Monarch peak stage. This was the 107 year at this dimension. Shadowless also carried this ferocious chi, and the space lethal force couldn't get near Shadowless as well. Sometimes he would even devour it. Yi Mo had countless immortal ranges collected. They were stacked up in mountains in the Golden Page world. Today, Shadowless and Yi Mo came to the palace like usual. Yi Mo couldn't find any other way out except in this palace. So he would come check this palace every 10 years to see if there was a way out. Every time, he would precisely check every corner in this palace, especially the backyard. The palace was still ancient, and Yi Mo still wasn't able to see through the secret of this palace. The palace was indestructible, but today, after checking the palace, Yi Mo didn't leave. He stared coldly at a cushioned seat and said, "Shadowless, block the exit. We can collect some debt." Shadowless said nothing and stopped at the gates. The instant Shadowless did so, a figure suddenly appeared in this palace. It was a black-faced man with a bitter smile. His cultivation level was Immortal Emperor primary stage. However, the chi from this Immortal Emperor couldn't trick Yi Mo. Yi Mo scorned at this Immortal Emperor and said, "Kaimi, you harmed another Immortal Emperor. I want to see where you can run to today." Then Zisu was humming above Yi Mo's head. The purple sword rays spread out without Yi Mo needing to activate them. The black-faced man didn't release his magic artifact and said, "Yi Mo, there's no point in killing me. It's at most venting your anger." This man was Kaimi. He was hiding everywhere in here, and meeting Yi Mo this time was a part of his plan. He didn't want to run, and he knew that although Yi Mo was only Immortal Monarch tertiary stage, his Immortal Emperor primary stage was far weaker than Yi Mo. "Since I can still vent my anger, it means that killing you serves a purpose." Yi Mo didn't fear Kaimi at all. "Yi Mo, if you kill me, you will never be able to leave. If you don't kill me, I can guarantee you a way out. I didn't plan to avoid you. If I did, you wouldn't even be able to find me." Kaimi suddenly said. Yi Mo frowned and said coldly, "You can go out. Then why don't you go out? Why do you think you're lying to?" Kaimi said calmly, "Yi Mo, you know I'm a divine emperor. And you know this is my second time possessing. To me, I would never be able to return to my original power, and I would never be able to surpass you this entire life. So don't worry about me. I can't leave indeed. And I don't plan to leave. There are large amounts of immortal range in here, and I can use them for cultivation. Of course, the main thing is that I don't dare to go out." He paused and said, "I can tell you some things you don't even know about. After you listen, you will know why I don't go out." "Do you think with my current power I still need you to tell me things? Even if Feng Kong Grand Emperor comes, so what?" Yi Mo sneered. Over the years, he had cultivated at least a few thousand years in the time formation disk. He really didn't fear Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Kaimi sneered, "Feng Kong Grand Emperor is nothing. He's worse than trash in my eyes." Yi Mo said calmly, "You're a Tao Vindication Divine Emperor. When you recover your power, of course, you won't consider Feng Kong Grand Emperor a threat." "Tao Vindication Divine Emperor?" Kaimi suddenly laughed and looked at Yi Mo more seriously. "Yi Mo, in the immortal realm, Tao Vindication Divine Emperor is indeed the top, and in the ancient immortal realm, there was no Tao Vindication at all. But once you reach Tao Vindication Divine Emperor, you will know how insolent you are." Yi Mo didn't sneer at Kaimi this time. He knew that the stronger one got, the more they felt they didn't know. Tao Vindication Divine Emperor can have eternal life, destroy the world, or tear any voids, cross realms. Isn't that the top? Yi Mo asked seriously. Kaimi didn't sneer at Yi Mo this time, and said plainly, "Who told you Tao Vindication Divine Emperor has eternal life? I can tell you that I have yet to see someone with eternal life. I can't, not even truth, divine emperor. Yi Mo's face went serious. He cultivated diligently to achieve eternity and then help the people around him to be eternal. Now, Kaimi said that even a Tao vindication divine emperor couldn't have eternal life. He was a bit lost, but he believed that as a previous divine emperor, Kaimi wouldn't bullshit about this. Realizing this, Yi Mo saluted with his fists. Kaimi, I heard that Tao vindication is very hard, and you need all sorts of ways. Since you can vindicate Tao, why can't you attain eternal life? Tao vindication is hard. Kaimi laughed in self-mockery. Do you now Tao seeking tower? Yi Mo nodded. Of course he knew. He had been in there in Yuanla heaven. There's 9 levels to the Tao seeking tower. The first 6 levels are Heart Demon Tao, Arts Tao, Magic Tao, God Art Tao, Law Tao, Reincarnation Tao. Many people know these 6 Taos, and many have gone in. There's 9 levels to the Tao seeking tower. The first 6 levels are Heart Demon Tao, Arts Tao, Magic Tao, God Art Tao, Law Tao, Reincarnation Tao. Many people know these 6 Taos, and many have gone in. Then Kaimi's tone changed, but rarely do people go into the last 3 levels. Even if people do, they can't understand what's inside. The 7th level is called Great God Arts Tao. Level 8 is called Chaos Tao. 9th level is blank. No one can understand it. Yi Mo didn't know why Kaimi said these things. Before Yi Mo asked, Kaimi continued, actually, although there were 9 people in the immortal realm that vindicated Tao, but those were side Taos, including Truth Divine Emperor's Tao. Then the immortal realm crumbled, and people couldn't even vindicate side Taos. Tell me more. Yi Mo was shocked. This was the first time he heard that the 9 Tao vindicators of the immortal realm vindicated side Taos. Kaimi said heavily, side Tao doesn't mean that you can't become a powerful being. If you keep pressing forward, you can still become a powerful being and reach the pinnacle. Then even Kaimi shook his head, but that's too hard. It's almost impossible. What is a side Tao? Yi Mo asked again. Kaimi said the so-called side Tao is vindicating Tao through a great God art. For example, my Law Tao vindication or Baizh was Flame Tao vindication. When you learn a great God art law in the Tao seeking tower and convert your God art to great God art, you can use it to vindicate Tao if you're talented enough. Great God art has the power to turn the world over. When Baizh vindicated Tao, one speck of his flame could burn an entire planet. Yi Mo sort of understood this, but he didn't keep asking Kaimi about this. Instead, he asked Kaimi, Divine Emperor, why did you say that you can't attain eternity even after Tao vindication? Kaimi showed a sliver of sneer. Eternity? Yi Mo, I admit you're a prodigy amongst prodigy. You have the best fortune and the most powerful talent, but no matter how you cultivate, you wouldn't be able to be eternal. If Tao vindication meant eternity, then Truth Divine Emperor wouldn't be beaten till only a sliver of his soul remained in the void. I wouldn't only have a sliver of essence spirit left. The rest of the few Divine Emperor's souls completely perished. Yi Mo touched his chin. This was the first time he heard someone say his talent was good, but he didn't interrupt. Kaimi also showed a look of confusion. It's said in the ancient times there's a realm above the immortal realm. Some people call it God realm, some people call it divine realm. But later, that realm shattered and disappeared. The realm that disappeared, Yi Mo murmured. He thought of the words that appeared with his king naming. God realm disappeared, stars don't show, chaos reopen, order resettle. Yes, the realm that disappeared. Kaimi said definitely ever since that realm disappeared, the world shall have no more eternity. After Immortal Emperor, people started to use the great God arts of Tao seeking tower for Tao vindication. When the first person succeeded, he became the first Divine Emperor. Then People used all sorts of methods to vindicate Tao. A few people succeeded, but compared to the countless cultivators, the successful people were too little. Seeing Yi Mo about to ask, Kaimi waved his hand and continued, Tao vindication is just the first step. Divine Emperor is an arrogant title, because highest realm in immortal realm is Tao vindication, so they are called Divine Emperor. In actual fact, Tao vindication is the beginning of Tao art. The first step after Tao vindication is Tao molding. The second step is Tao nourishment. The third step is Tao actualization. Only one who reaches Tao actualization, Divine Emperor, can be called Divine Emperor. Yi Mo was very shocked. If you don't reach that step, you would never know how far that step was. So only once you're a Tao actualization Divine Emperor can you be called Divine Emperor. Yi Mo murmured to himself. Kaimi sneered. Tao actualization? Tao actualization is nothing? After Tao actualization, you can gather your Tao into essence to achieve Tao essence Divine Emperor, and after that there is primordial essence Divine Emperor? In fact, even primordial essence Divine Emperor isn't the strongest Divine Emperor. Whether or not that is eternal life, I don't know, but that's not something I can know. Yi Mo took in a cold breath. He thought he was at the pinnacle of the immortal realm, but he found he was still too far from that pinnacle. Luckily, there was nothing that could threaten him in the immortal realm now. Those who could threaten him were only divine emperors, but it's said that after the ancient battle they all disappeared, so he didn't need to worry. How do you know there's 3 steps to Tao vindication? And there's Tao essence Divine Emperor and primordial essence Divine Emperor after Tao actualization Divine Emperor. Yi Mo asked. Kaimi didn't answer Yi Mo and asked instead, do you know how the 33 heaven domains of the immortal realm came to be? Yi Mo nodded. I heard it's caused by the battle of the Divine Emperor Great Battles. If I'm not wrong, you were probably in that battle too, right? Why did many divine emperors attack Truth Divine Emperor? Kaimi nodded. That did indeed happen. After that battle, everyone was injured. But we're all from the immortal realm. Only if our brains are fried would we ruin our own foundation. Do you think we would battle in the immortal realm and shatter the immortal realm causing laws to not even be complete? You guys didn't break the immortal realm into 33 heavens. Yi Mo asked in shock. Kaimi reminisced the ancient times. The immortal realm was indeed split due to a battle, but it's not that we broke it intentionally. Due to the limitations of the immortal realm laws, when we're at our stage, we can sense if new people reached Tao vindication. In the immortal realm, it's always been 9 divine emperors, but one day, we sensed a more powerful person appear in the immortal realm at the same time. If it was before, Yi Mo would be shocked and ask what was stronger than Tao vindication Divine Emperor. But now, he knew that even Truth Divine Emperor wasn't the strongest. Kaimi continued, at the same time, we appeared before that figure. That person was covered in wounds. He was heavily injured, but the chi coming from his body shook us. That chi made us realize that if he wasn't injured, we couldn't beat him even if all 9 of us joined up. So, you guys joined up to fight that guy? Yi Mo immediately asked. Kaimi nodded. That person was rather polite. He first apologized for appearing at the immortal realm causing us to worry. He said he didn't do it intentionally, and when he healed, he would leave the immortal realm immediately. However, his greedy eyes exposed that he definitely wouldn't be leaving right after he healed. What we didn't expect was that Truth Divine Emperor was the first to ambush him. At the same time, Truth Divine Emperor sound transmissioned us that this person had the secret to surpassing Divine Emperor and potential eternal life. If we didn't join up and this guy healed, he might kill us and control the entire immortal realm. In fact, other than Truth Divine Emperor, a few others were planning to attack that guy. Even I was planning to attack because his eyes were too scary. With that, everyone attacked that person at the same time. But after fighting, we realized that despite being heavily injured, that person was still countless times stronger than us. We were no match for him even after joining up. That battle faded the light of stars and the sun. We were from the immortal realm and worried about the immortal realm continent, but that person didn't care at all. His god art was great god art that we had never heard of before. The immortal realm actually cracked under his magic artifact. We had never seen someone with such terrifying god art. He could annihilate an immortal emperor with one breath. Even if you go to Qingwei Heaven now, you can see Qingwei Abyssal River. If an ordinary person goes over, he would be annihilated by the murderous qi there. This is because the river was created by that person's palm. After all these years, that person's killing intent is still there. Kaimi said with great afterfear. What happened later? Yemo asked. Kaimi murmured. The immortal realm laws had formed, but this person could break it and shatter the immortal realm, causing laws to be incomplete. This was a heavenly means. Because the immortal realm was stable. So, despite breaking the immortal realm, it allowed the immortal realm to form the number of heavenly gang, 36 heaven domains. Kaimi continued, that person is too scary. In his fury, he formed a huge essence chi palm and grabbed a heaven domain, smashing at Wuchen Divine Emperor. Wuchen was smashed to death with a heaven domain. Then he grabbed 2 more heaven domains. Yi Mo took in a cold breath. He knew that some immortal emperor and divine emperor could spirit control a planet, and heard that Chua, he divine emperor, could burn an entire planet, but in the vast space, there were too many planets. Most planets compared to a heaven domain was just a speck of dust. Yi Mo took in a cold breath. He knew that some immortal emperor and divine emperor could spirit control a planet, and heard that Chua, he divine emperor, could burn an entire planet, but in the vast space, there were too many planets. Most planets compared to a heaven domain was just a speck of dust. He came from Earth. If the Earth was thrown into Luo Yu continent's heartless sea, it wouldn't even cause a splash. Yet any heaven domain of the immortal realm was countless times bigger than Luo Yu continent, and such a heaven domain was grabbed by hand to smash people? This was unimaginable. Even if an immortal emperor can damage a heaven domain through battle, and might even split apart a heaven domain with powerful magic artifact and god art, but this was a far cry from grabbing a heaven domain and smashing people with it. Isn't this person almost Tao Actualization Divine Emperor? Yemo asked in shock. Kaimi shook his head. According to my guess, this person is beyond Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. He's probably almost Tao Essence Divine Emperor. How does no one hear of such a powerful person afterwards? Yi Mo asked. In fact, we all thought it was over, but Truth Divine Emperor hit his cultivation level. Kaimi sighed. The immortal realm was above to crack. In that time of desperation, Truth Divine Emperor's cultivation level suddenly rose and released a primordial spirit treasure, immortal carnage tower that we had never known about. At that moment, we were all dazed, but even that heavily injured person was dead. He watched as he was locked on by immortal carnage tower and smashed. I remembered his last words were, primordial spirit treasure. In such a realm, you had reached down nourishment. You're saying that guy was killed by Truth Divine Emperor's immortal carnage tower? Yi Mo shivered thinking of that ghost ship. This Truth Divine Emperor was a really scary guy. That's right, after that guy was smashed by the immortal carnage tower, he released a magic artifact wanting to smash open the immortal carnage tower, but the tower was too scary. Although his power was stronger than Truth Divine Emperor, and he seemed to have heavily injured Truth Carnage Tower, his soul was still annihilated. The immortal Carnage Tower can annihilate all essence spirit. Not a speck of dust was left. Kaimi said definitely, but after Truth Divine Emperor used the immortal Carnage Tower, his spirit was withered and his face pale. Even a fool could tell he was at his wit's end. What we didn't expect was that Chua, he Divine Emperor, ambushed Truth Divine Emperor at this time and transmission to the rest of us. Kaimi showed a sliver of helplessness and bitterness. I heard Truth Divine Emperor was very arrogant and cocky. He never showed respect to the other divine emperors and always cursed at them. Was this why Zhuahe Divine Emperor ambushed him? Yemo asked. Kaimi sneered. Truth Divine Emperor cocky? He's more forbearing than anyone? Zhuahe Divine Emperor's daughter fell in love with Truth Divine Emperor, but after Truth Divine Emperor took over her, he abandoned her. This might be the reason why Zhuahe Divine Emperor wanted to ambush Truth Divine Emperor. Of course, this is just my guess. Yemo was speechless. This was completely different to the street story he heard. He heard that Truth Divine Emperor pointed at the Divine Emperor daughter and said, "You are mine now." Zhuahe Divine Emperor was successful in his ambush. We knew that Truth Divine Emperor was very strong and bleak, so we all attacked. In the end, Truth Divine Emperor self-destructed, and we didn't end up good either. Other than one or two, the rest of us lost our bodies. After my body crippled, my essence spirit was greatly depleted, but I had a broken truth spirit world, and I robbed a bloody spear. The spear came from that master. The information about Tao vindication came from the spear. I used a blood spear too, so I fused the two spears. Kaimi said. Yemo was very shocked, but his face was calm. You stayed here to tell me all this and let you go? You know, I have the time formation disc, and perhaps the truth spirit world and chaos tree. Do you think I would let you go? Yours is truth spirit world. Kaimi repeated in shock, and was a little disappointed. He thought Yemo had a chaos world. Yemo knew Kaimi was very cunning, and there was no way he would admit he had chaos world. Kaimi didn't doubt Yemo's words. He didn't believe Yemo could get chaos world. Now that Yemo admitted it himself, he was disappointed, but he believed it. Truth spirit world was still the most top-level thing. He relied on it to stay alive many times before. That truth spirit world eventually cracked in the bluish-gray space. I know your things are treasures in the immortal realm, but if you agree not to kill me, I can swear I won't spill it. I can even sever the memories of this away. Of course, I don't want you to just not kill me. As for whether or not you agree, let me finish first. Kaimi took out a jade slip to Yemo and said, there are things recorded in here that you have never seen before. It's organized from what I found in the blood spear. At my level, I know I wouldn't be able to catch up to you. Our path will be different in the future. I can't threaten you at all, and the dangers you face are much greater than me. Yemo scanned his spirit sense in the jade slip. He immediately saw many things he had never seen before, including the blue fruit he got from the restriction. It was called Emperor with Blue Fruit. Yemo immediately knew this jade slip was very important to him. He took it without hesitation. Kaimi's threat was very huge, and he didn't really plan on letting this person go, but he wasn't not going to take such good things. We came from the Star Beast place. They usually live at the border of a realm, so we're also at the border region. This palace has an ancient chi, and a chi that doesn't belong to the immortal realm. I've seen this chi before. The person who suddenly appeared in the immortal realm also had this chi. This means that the palace and that person came from the same place. Kaimi looked calmly at Yemo and said, Fong Kong, those idiots forcefully attacked the Formation Foundation and actually broke a crevice into the void here. Although those idiots got away, the void fissure closed too. However, the Formation Foundation sealing the chi here was opened. At the same time, the chi of the palace is seeping out. One day, those powerful beings not belonging to the immortal realm would sense this chi and come to the immortal realm. How are you so certain? Yemo asked in disbelief. Kaimi said heavily, you haven't seen the eyes of that outsider. It was pure frenzy and joy. It means that they saw a more beautiful place than they lived. His face showed that he wanted to eat the entire immortal realm. Later on from the blood spear, I realized how harsh their environment was. Some of this is my guess. Some of this is information from the blood spear. They belong to a higher realm, but for some reason that realm crumbled and disappeared. And at that realm, the laws are broken too. This made them leave that broken realm and went to a place called the God Necropolis domain to live. God Necropolis domain? Yi Mo asked in confusion. This name was too strange. He had been to Immortal Graveyard Valley and Long Graveyard Valley. He knew that places related to graveyards were usually barren and bleak. If the God Necropolis domain was a place like that, then living there would be harsh. Kaimi said, that's right, the God Necropolis domain. The powerful being killed by the Truth Divine Emperor came from there somehow. Think about it. If those people knew there was a place as beautiful as the immortal realm, would they let it go? Yi Mo frowned. The 33 heaven domains are very big. Even if we have them, it's fine. Kaimi sneered. Do you know what those people are? Would they live here quietly? I'm certain that as soon as they come, the first thing they would do is take away every heaven domain and then spirit control it into their truth spirit world. The people of Immortal Realm are worse than livestock to them. Yimo's face changed. Their realm was broken, and the beautiful environment was gone. If they came to the Immortal Realm, how could they just find a place to live? He was too naive. I really didn't expect it. Yi Mo saluted with his fists and admitted to his mistake. I really didn't expect it. Yi Mo saluted with his fists and admitted to his mistake. Kaimi waved his hand. You haven't seen their power. It's normal. Now, I'm going to talk about this palace. I don't know who set this palace up, but I'm certain that the Qianbei who set it up did. So, to seal the passage between that realm and the immortal realm. Perhaps this was to protect the immortal realm, but the formation foundation was broken by those idiots. Why didn't you stop them? Yimo's face changed. Kaimi said with contempt, do you know whose body this is? It's Feng Kong's henchman. If I came out, I would probably be killed by Feng Kong before I could even talk. Even if he listened to me, he would still kill me. Since they opened the space here, and you can leave through the void, why didn't you leave? Yi Mo asked again. Kaimi sighed. What's the difference? I didn't have the chance to go, but even if I did, I feel there's no meaning. The formation here is broken. The immortal realm will definitely be discovered by the people of the other realm. Once that happens, they would come to the immortal realm and spirit control all the heaven domains. Even if I go out to any heaven domain, I will still be spirit controlled. Yi Mo realized what Kaimi meant. Kaimi thought that he had the chaos world. That's why he stayed to see him. But Yi Mo was thinking about who set up this huge formation. Since that person did this, it meant his power was immense and wouldn't be going back to the broken realm. How come he hasn't heard of such a person? Because I had a broken truth spirit world, and I thought you had the chaos world. I wanted to join you. But you don't have it. The truth spirit world is good enough. I'm willing to hand over my soul print and give you the way out of here if you protect me, Kaimi said. Yi Mo sneered. And then possess me like you did to Lu Jingchuan, right? Kaimi smiled bitterly. I can't even possess at all now. Your sea of consciousness is probably much, much stronger than mine. Plus, if I give you my soul seal, you can kill me with one thought. How can I possess you? Plus, I have a body now. How do I possess you? Now that Kaimi said this, Yi Mo felt Kaimi was right. Thinking about this, Yi Mo nodded. Then hand over your soul seal and tell me how to get out. I'm the sect leader of Mo, you immortal sect. You will be one of my sect members now. Yes, sect leader, Kaimi said, and then severed a sliver of soul seal without hesitation. Yi Mo grabbed the soul seal and immediately knew that Kaimi was being honest. He could really kill Kaimi with one thought. At this moment, Yi Mo's face relaxed and patted Kaimi's shoulder. Kaimi, as long as you don't talk shit and do wrong things, I will let you live very well. Okay, tell me how to get out of here. Yemo was certain that his formation skills were beyond level 7 Immortal Formation Grandmaster, but after hearing Kaimi, he realized that many things couldn't be solved with just formation skills. Kaimi was just a level 7 Immortal Formation Grandmaster, but his experience was much greater than Yemo's. With his help, Yemo found the formation door he couldn't find in 100 years within just 45 minutes. After leaving the void formation door, Yemo let Kaimi move to the side. He didn't use Kaimi's method and open another void on the void Feng Kong, and them opened. That way, the immortal realm would be exposed faster. Yemo derived the space formation door. While thinking about how to remedy the leaked chi at the same time, he was thinking about who had the power to set up such a formation. Kaimi didn't care at first, but later on he noticed something wrong. Yemo's powerful formation Dao Rune made him feel that even his own formation skills were improving. Kaimi's heart skipped, and only now did he truly feel how extraordinary Yemo was. He released such powerful Dao waves when he was just deducing formation. How powerful would it be when he was cultivating? Kaimi soon sat and felt Yemo's Dao waves. His body was destroyed, and he slumbered in the truth spirit world for countless years. After waking up, he possessed bodies twice. He had long lost the possibility of seeking Dao again. Yet, feeling Yemo's Dao waves now, he had new hopes. Time flew by, and in another decade, Yemo suddenly woke up and started to build formation flags. Seeing Yemo used refined star rock and immortal flame blue like morning sky, even Kaimi was dumbfounded. Even Truth Divine Emperor didn't have this many good things. But soon he woke up. What was Yemo doing? Looking at Kaimi's inquisitive look, Yemo said, "Kaimi, you're right. This formation door is indeed the formation foundation of this dimension. It's been damaged heavily, and the chi is spilling. I finally understand why there are so many immortal ranges here. They are the immortal spirit chi source for this formation. A powerful being set them here, and now we dug so many away. The formation foundation was also damaged by Feng Kong, that bastard. You want to repair this formation foundation?" Kaimi asked in shock. Yemo shook his head. "I don't have the ability to repair it, but I can remedy the situation. I can't stop the chi from spilling, but I can delay it. I don't know exactly how long I can delay it for." Kaimi was astonished. He didn't expect Yemo could repair such a powerful formation foundation. Seeing Kaimi's shocked eyes, Yemo could only explain, "In fact, I'm setting up another simple stealth formation. I can't connect it to the original formation." When Yemo got out, he would use the time he bought to bring up his power. Even if he couldn't reach that Dao Actualization Divine Emperor, or Dao Essence Divine Emperor, he would at least have to reach Immortal Emperor. If possible, he hoped he could use his Golden Page world to vindicate DOA. Another year later, Yemo turned all his refined star rock into formation flags. This hurt his heart a bit. He could have used it to upgrade Zisu. Seeing Yemo throw out tens of extreme great immortal ranges to provide immortal spirit chi, Kaimi respected Yemo. "Kaimi, why did that Qianbei leave this palace and so many restrictions? Why did he leave behind a formation door? Isn't that giving people a chance to break it? And why did those restrictions disappear?" Yemo asked. Kaimi thought and said, "I've thought about this many times as well. Maybe that powerful being did this on purpose. He probably didn't expect so many immortal emperors to come here. If only one person came, then the powerful being left the door for him to leave. As for the things inside the restriction, it was probably for people to reach Immortal Emperor Peak so they can leave. I know a few Immortal Emperor Peak stages left through the Void Formation door, but they didn't get out. They came back and broke the formation foundation," Yemo said with confusion. Kaimi rubbed his head. "I don't understand this either." Then he looked expectantly at Yemo. "Do you have a way out now?" Yemo nodded. "I do." Then Yi Mo threw out a few formation flags he didn't use. It can open this place for a few seconds. Just follow me. As soon as Yi Mo spoke, a crevice opened up. Yi Mo took Shadowless and went inside immediately. Kaimi followed Yi Mo without hesitation. After the two left, the crevice shut immediately, and the palace became dead silent again. Yi Mo stayed in the void and didn't leave immediately. He left a few formation flags here. When he was strong enough, he would come back to repair this formation and completely stealth the immortal realm. 3 years later, Fendu Heavenja Kue Immortal City. 3 years later, Fendu Heavenja Kue Immortal City. A blue-robed young man walked into the city. He carried a sword immortal artifact on his back. From head to toe, he was dressed in the most ordinary clothes. Jia Kue Immortal City was the largest immortal city in the Grand Heaven Domain because many immortal ships left from here. People gathered here for the opening of secret realms. Kue Jia Immortal City had a ruin itself, and so it was usually always full here. Those who could come to Kue Jia Immortal City would at least wear immortal armor, even if it was low-grade immortal armor. No one dressed like this young man, but since no one could see through his power, people didn't dare to look at him. This was Yi Mo. He came to Fendu Heaven as soon as he and Kaimi came back to the immortal realm. One was because that Fendu Heaven was the closest to get back, and the second was because Saint Yi was in Fendu Heaven. He was hunted by Wuhui Immortal Emperor at the Wujia Sound River, and Yi Mo had been worried what happened to Yi and Ding Jia. Although he knew the Wujia Sound River didn't dare to do anything to the two, he was still worried. So when he came back, he went to Fendu Heaven immediately. When things here were over, he would search for Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan disappeared from Wujia Sound River. Even if he couldn't find her, he would make Wuyin Immortal Emperor pay. The first thing Kaimi did was to go pick up the things he left behind, so he separated with Yi Mo at Fendu Heaven. Yi Mo had been to Jia Kue Immortal City a few times. He knew this city was very busy, and he hid his power to Immortal King Middle Stage. He publicly announced he hid his power before, so all the immortal emperors he had seen didn't know his cultivation level. This way, if he exposed his cultivation level, people would only think he was already Immortal Monarch Tertiary Stage. If he didn't expose his cultivation level, then when he reached Immortal Emperor, he would say he was already Immortal Emperor. No matter how strong he was, he shouldn't get public outrage. If everyone knew he had Time Formation Disc, then he would be attacked by everyone. Truth Divine Emperor was a good example. Yi Mo came to this city, wanting to use the teleportation formation here to go to Jiufan Immortal Pond, but when his spirit sense scanned a purple-robed man, he immediately changed his plan. He could tell this purple-robed man was Immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage, and was the image that Ji Lei Immortal Emperor showed him. This person appearing here was probably so he could auction the stone stool again. He didn't dare to buy it before, but if this guy still dared to sell it here, then don't blame him. Thinking about this, Yi Mo didn't follow this man, and instead found the most luxurious Immortal Rest Tower in the city. He wanted to ask around if there was a large auction in the city. If there was an auction, he would buy the stone stool. If there was no auction, then he would follow this man out of the city and rob him. He was Immortal Monarch Tertiary Stage, but he had been stuck here for so long and used so many immortal ranges. He didn't believe he would be scared of a mere Immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage. Plus, Yi Mo had to have that stone stool. He didn't know how long the formation in that palace could cover up the immortal realm's chi. If those powerful beings came to the immortal realm, it would be a catastrophe. Only if he perfected his chaos world could he take the people with him away. He didn't know what was going on with Jia Kue Immortal City, but there were many people in the city, and the Immortal Rest Towers were full. As an immortal king, Yi Mo was immediately respected upon walking in. However, the tower had no seats, and even the lobby was full. These immortals came from everywhere, and all sat in the lobby clearly to get some more news. Yi Mo knew that if he asked someone to move off a table, no one would object, but Yi Mo didn't like doing that. Qian Bei, I'm going to leave, you can sit here. An honest-looking great eternity immortal got up and saluted with his fist to Yi Mo, immediately replied, "Thank you, friend." Yi Mo sat down, and the attendant on the side immediately came up asking what tea or fruit Yi Mo wanted. He was afraid that Yi Mo would get angry for having no seat. "Get me any kettle of immortal spirit tea." Yi Mo took out 1,000 top-grade immortal crystals, spending 1,000 top-grade immortal crystals for just a kettle of tea. The nearby people could already tell Yi Mo was wealthy. Everyone quietened down with Yi Mo's cultivation level being Immortal King middle stage. Yi Mo was speechless. With a high cultivation level, he couldn't even find out some news here. The attendant took out a jade kettle from his storage ring and took out a jade cup, pouring a cup of tea for Yi Mo. "Wait." Seeing the attendant was about to leave, Yi Mo stopped him. The attendant was just a golden immortal. Seeing Yi Mo stop him, he quickly stopped and asked carefully, "Qian Bei, what other orders do you have?" Just when he wanted to ask if there was some big auction in the city, Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned a familiar figure who was hurrying out of the city. Yi Mo rejoiced and immediately dashed out of the Immortal Rest Tower. He saw the first immortal king he had seen in the immortal realm. He only knew this female immortal was a blue-dressed status immortal, but didn't know her cultivation level. Now he could see it clearly. She was an immortal king middle stage. She was probably an immortal king middle stage before as well. Yi Mo was excited because Nie Shuang was taken away by her. Finding her meant finding Nie Shuang. He really wanted to know how she was doing. Yu Xie was very anxious. As soon as she reached the city with her martial sister, she received her martial sister Yu Xiang's urgent call. She was hurrying over there, but not long after leaving the city, she was stopped. She could immediately tell that the person who stopped her was an immortal king middle stage. She was desperate, but she didn't dare to get angry. "You are..." Yu Xie recognized Yi Mo, and there was inexpressible shock in her face. Yi Mo smiled. "That's right. I'm the person whom you said could at most reach Golden Immortal, but I'm not here today to repeat that. I'm here to thank you for saving my friend Nie Shuang, and I want to take her away. Of course, I'll compensate you for that. You're already an immortal king? This..." She stared at Yi Mo with pure shock, forgetting to even ask how Yi Mo came to the Grand Heaven Domain. How many years had it been? The hollow immortal she saw became an immortal king. She said he could at most reach Golden Immortal, but now she was still Immortal King middle stage while the hollow immortal reached Immortal King middle stage. Yi Mo stopped her. "That isn't the point. The point is, where is Nie Shuang? Is she okay?" Yi Mo's tone was getting impatient. The immortal king suddenly realized what she needed to do and quickly said, Shuang is fine. My martial sister is in danger. I need to go see her first." Then the blue-dressed immortal king dashed away. Yi Mo frowned but didn't stop her and followed behind instead. "Brother Yi, I'm Yu Xie. I was wrong about what I said before. Sorry. Shuang is fine. After I find my martial sister, I'll tell you more." Yu Xie saw Yi Mo followed over and quickly explained. She even felt she was no match for Yi Mo, so she was very polite. "Brother Yi, I'm Yu Xie. I was wrong about what I said before. Sorry. Shuang is fine. After I find my martial sister, I'll tell you more." Yu Xie saw Yi Mo followed over and quickly explained. She even felt she was no match for Yi Mo, so she was very polite. Yi Mo was anxious about Nie Shuang, but she had to go save her martial sister. Everything was good as long as Nie Shuang was fine. Plus, he knew this martial sister of Yu Xie. It was probably that young girl who was great eternity immortal. Yi Mo's spirit sense soon scanned the young girl who played with him, but helped him. She was stopped by two immortal kings, one immortal king middle stage, and one immortal king tertiary stage who was very tall. A small bear-like immortal spirit beast rested on her shoulder with a sliver of fear in its eyes. The fiery red fur of the immortal spirit beast was very catchy. Martial sister Yuxiang already saw Yuxie and called out. She still looked like a young girl and had a huge chest. Seeing people come, the two immortal kings didn't talk and just looked at Yuxie. Yuxie knew her martial sister caused trouble and quickly went up to the two immortal king and saluted with her fists. My martial sister is immature. If she offended you two, please forgive her. Ha! A person who cultivated to great eternity immortal has lived for countless years, and you say she's immature? Do you think I'm a fool, or are you a fool? The tall-looking immortal king tertiary stage laughed and scorned. Yuxie heard this and knew that Yuxiang caused quite some trouble this time. Her face changed, and she yelled, "What did you do?" Yuxiang knew things weren't good, and she didn't have time to look at Yi Mo. She just said sadly, "I just caught an ordinary immortal spirit beast and roasted it with Wan, but they say the immortal spirit beast belonged to them. She really wanted to say that the immortal spirit beast wasn't necessarily theirs and wasn't necessarily a spirit-seeking rabbit, but she knew this wasn't the low or middle heaven domain. Hearing this, the immortal king middle stage moved his eyes away from Yi Mo and coldly said, "You ate our spirit-seeking rabbit, and you say it's not ours. Do you see spirit-seeking rabbits everywhere?" Yuxie's face changed. If it really was a spirit-seeking rabbit, then even if they gave everything, they wouldn't be able to compensate for that. Although her martial sister liked to do some cheeky things, she wouldn't be that dumb. Although she knew that she couldn't afford to compensate it, Yuxie still asked, "Dao friends, my martial sister is indeed immature. May I ask how to compensate for this spirit-seeking rabbit?" "We will try our best to compensate to you." "Compensate? Can you afford it? My spirit-seeking rabbit can find an immortal range in a month and tens of level 7 and higher immortal spirit herbs. How are you going to compensate us?" The tall, immortal king tertiary stage sneered. Yuxie's face went pale. She really couldn't afford it. This was the grand heaven domain. She didn't even have a place to ask for help. Small ginseng laughed and sound transmission to Yi Mo. "I don't know if the spirit-seeking rabbit was eaten by the girl, but I know the bear on her shoulder is an immortal range bear." Yi Mo has heard of immortal range bears before. He didn't expect it to be so small and red-haired. The immortal range bears ate immortal crystals and immortal ranges and could find the best immortal ranges immediately, but Yi Mo knew it wasn't very rare and precious. It grew very slowly, and only when it matured could it find immortal ranges. Yi Mo didn't know if Yuxiang ate their spirit-seeking rabbit, but he was certain the two immortal kings recognized Yuxiang's red bear was an immortal range bear. "What's going on, you tell me?" Yi Mo walked up. "Ha, you're Yi Mo." Yuxiang recognized Yi Mo immediately. She didn't see Yi Mo at first, but now she immediately said in surprise and joy, "You're actually at the grand heaven domain. Your cultivation level definitely won't be golden immortal." Yi Mo, I can't see your cultivation level." Seeing Yuxiang's joy and her completely different attitude to her martial sister, Yi Mo was happy too. Before Yi Mo said anything, Yuxie approached. "Yuxiang, martial brother Yi is an immortal king now. Don't be so casual." "Yi Mo, you're really an immortal king. My martial sister said you would be golden immortal at most." "Ha!" In Yuxiang's eyes, Yi Mo was still the noob who bought returned soul fruit at a low-level marketplace. Yuxie said helplessly, "Brother Yi, I'm really sorry, my martial sister." Yi Mo waved his hand. "It's fine, we're old friends." "I'm happy she calls me Yi Mo, Yuxiang. Tell me what happened before. If it's not your fault, I'll help you get justice." Pfft. A mere immortal king middle stage dares to get justice. Piss off. If you utter one more word, I'll slay you here, the tall, immortal king tertiary stage said in contempt. Yimo's face sunk. Piss off. Regardless whether your rabbit was eaten, you can piss off. Ha ha. The immortal king laughed in anger. So arrogant. I've really never seen someone as arrogant as you. Before he finished, his purple-ruined ghost scissors was released. It turned into 2 huge blades and cut at Yi-Mo. Yuxia immediately felt the powerful immortal king domain. Her face changed. She knew she was no match upon seeing this immortal king domain. Before Yuxia could react, Yi-Mo kicked. This was a casual kick, no god art nor space lethal force. Yuxia dazed. An ordinary kick attacking half-extreme grade immortal artifact scissors. Was Yi-Mo a fake immortal king, or was his head dumb? This tall immortal king was dazed too. He didn't expect there to be such an idiot. Was this guy dumb? But immediately he noticed something wrong. If Yi-Mo was an idiot, how could he kick in his immortal king domain? Rumble when they were still dazed. Yi-Mo's foot struck the scissors. That ordinary kick suddenly caused space whirlpools the instant before it hit the scissors. The space lethal force and immortal king domain of the immortal king tertiary stage was dissipated in this kick. The scissors was kicked away like an ordinary metal scissors. Meanwhile, this tall immortal king spat a few mouthfuls of blood due to the backlash. This didn't end. His immortal king domain spun rapidly and instantly pulverized his own arms. The tall, immortal king was dazed. He had never thought that someone could kick his scissors away just by standing there, and then twist his arms with his own immortal king domain. The other fatter immortal king, Yuxia, and Yuxiang were also completely dazed. What immortal king was this? Even the strongest immortal monarch shouldn't be able to do this. Seeing Yi-Mo walk towards him, the tall immortal king called out in shock, "I'm a sect member of Black Lightning Emperor sect. If you dare to kill me, you will die." Yi-Mo laughed. "This is the first time I heard of Black Lightning Emperor sect. I'm going to kill you. What can Black Lightning Emperor sect do to me?" But Yi-Mo didn't attack immediately, and instead glared coldly towards the city. At the same time, a sneer sounded. "This emperor shall see who dares to kill my Black Lightning Emperor sect's member." The tall, immortal king breathed easy hearing this voice. He glared at Yi-Mo, and his face went cruel. He knew this powerful immortal king was dead. Yi-Mo immediately said in contempt, "I'm going to kill him." "What are you going to do?" "Huh." Before the person landed, he already saw Yi-Mo's look. He didn't look carefully who started a conflict with the tall, immortal king. Only an immortal king would have a conflict with an immortal king. He was an immortal emperor tertiary stage, and immortal kings were like insects to him. He didn't look carefully who started a conflict with the tall, immortal king. Only an immortal king would have a conflict with an immortal king. He was an immortal emperor tertiary stage, and immortal kings were like insects to him. When he saw this person was Yi-Mo, he immediately knew this wasn't someone he could mess with. He had heard of Yi-Mo's ferocious name and seen it with his own eyes. He even asked Yi-Mo questions. "So, it's sect leader Yi." Nong Yen didn't see clearly. Yi-Mo looked more ordinary now, but Nong Yen, immortal emperor, knew that Yi-Mo's power grew once again. Yi-Mo showed he was an immortal king, but who knew what his power was. Yi-Mo admitted himself that he hid a little of his power, but who knew how much that little amount was? Yi-Mo said plainly, "I heard you say who dares to kill your Black Lightning Emperor sect member. So I am still shaking." Despite saying that, Yi-Mo's killing intent was soaring. Nong Yen, immortal emperor, was very awkward. "I didn't see things clearly. I believe sect leader, you wouldn't take things seriously with a mere immortal king. It must be that my sect member offended sect leader Yi. If so, I won't let it go easily." Nong Yen, immortal emperor, was awkward, but his words caught Yi-Mo. As long as his sect member didn't offend Yi-Mo first, then Yi-Mo can't really kill the immortal king in front of his face. Everyone was dazed. Not just Yu Xiang and Yu Xie, but even the tall immortal king opened his mouth wide in shock. What was going on? Nong Yen Immortal Emperor was the strongest immortal emperor in Black Lightning Emperor sect. He was at the top of Jin Shang heaven. Who was Yi-Mo? A mere immortal king, and yet he dared to say such words in front of Nong Yen Immortal Emperor. What shocked them more was Nong Yen Immortal Emperor's reaction to such words. Was this how an immortal emperor tertiary stage talked to an immortal king? Was there some powerful backup Yi-Mo had? Even if sect leader Ye's backup was the 4 Grand Emperors, he can't be so rude to Nong Yen Immortal Emperor. Yi-Mo sneered, and his killing intent soared. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor saw this, and was more shocked. He didn't believe he could beat Yi-Mo. Although Yi-Mo and his dragon horse made Li Long Immortal Emperor back out, and he was a little stronger than Li Long Immortal Emperor, but who knows if Yi-Mo had new encounters these years. He had no confidence in beating Yi-Mo at all. Plus, Yi-Mo's sect also had a mortal emperor tertiary stage. Plus, the 4 Grand Emperors weren't going to let Yi-Mo go. Why start conflict with Yi-Mo now? Seeing Yi-Mo's killing intent rise, Nong Yen Immortal Emperor didn't dare to take things lightly. He yelled at the tall immortal king, "What happened? If you dare to lie at all, I will turn you to dust." Seeing even his martial ancestor this concerned with Yi-Mo, how could the tall immortal king not know that Yi-Mo wasn't someone he could mess with? He quickly explained, "Sun Hao Immortal King, and I saw a spirit-seeking rabbit, so we chased it but we lost it. When we found it again, we found she was roasting our rabbit. So Yi-Mo thought they were just scamming Yu Xiang, but such thing actually existed." He subconsciously glanced at Yu Xiang. She woke up from the shock and quickly said, "Sorry, Nuan Nuan wanted to eat that rabbit as soon as he saw it. Nuan Nuan was too fast and caught the rabbit. I helped Nuan Nuan roast it. I didn't expect it tasted so good, so I ate some too." Yu Xie, Yi-Mo, and Nong Yen Immortal Emperor had realized what happened. Yu Xiang indeed roasted the rabbit, but the rabbit didn't belong to the 2 Immortal King, and they used this to stop Yu Xiang. Realizing this, Nong Yen Immortal Emperor's face sunk. "So you used this to rob her immortal range bear? Is that so?" "Yes, yes," the 2 Immortal Kings said shakily. "My bear is an immortal range bear?" Yu Xiang looked at her bear in shock. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor could tell the 3 already knew each other. So he said to Yu Xiang, "This is the fault of my sect members. Please forgive." Yu Xiang knew Nong Yen Immortal Emperor did this all because of Yi-Mo. She didn't dare to really accept the apology and quickly bowed with Yu Xiang. "Master Nong Yen, it's Wan Bei's martial sister being naughty. I don't dare to accept such apology." Nong Yen nodded. "Your immortal range bear's level is too low. It needs a lot of time to grow. I have a feeding manual here. Have a look." Then Nong Yen Immortal Emperor threw a jade slip, and Yu Xiang quickly caught it before bowing again. "Sect Leader Yi, this is the wrong of my sect member. If you have any punishment, I will support it." Nong Yen Immortal Emperor saluted with his fists to Yi-Mo again. Yi-Mo didn't really intend to kill this immortal king. Now that Nong Yen Immortal Emperor said this, he saluted with his fists. "Since Brother Nong Yen thinks it's fine, then this will do. Hurry up and piss off." Nong Yen Immortal Emperor yelled to the 2 Immortal Kings. The 2 had long wanted to go. They quickly bowed to Yi-Mo and Nong Yen Immortal Emperor before leaving. "Haha, so sect leader Yi already made it out. I have been worrying. Brother He Chong has been worried about Brother Yi too." Nong Yen Immortal Emperor acted as though the incident before didn't happen at all, and they were long-lost friends. "Brother Nong Yen, how is my sect and Brother He Chong?" Yi-Mo asked. "Brother He Chong is definitely fine. Don't worry, sect leader Yi. Feng Kong Grand Emperor has been taking care of him. Perhaps it's better to find news from Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor's words made Yimo's face sink. How could he not know that Nong Yen Immortal Emperor meant Feng Kong Grand Emperor already knew about him and didn't like him? Regardless of whether Nong Yen Immortal Emperor had good or bad intentions, at least he knew that Feng Kong Grand Emperor had his eyes on him and might even take He Chong to the Grand Emperor estate. Thank you for your remind, Brother Nong Yen. After things here are done, I will go visit Feng Kong Grand Emperor at his estate. Yi Emos said calmly. He saw in the reincarnation Tao of Tao's Seeking Tower that Feng Kong Grand Emperor treated him badly in his past life, and there was a woman carrying him who was kicked down the stairs. He had to ask where that person was now. Hearing that Yi Mo was going to visit Feng Kong at his estate, Nong Yen Immortal Emperor's heart skipped. He knew he was far from a match for Yi Mo. Realizing this, Nong Yen Immortal Emperor changed the topic and smiled. Does sect leader Yi have business to do at Jia Kui Immortal City? Or did you bring your sect members to participate in the opening of the Jia Kui Secret Realm? Jia Kui Secret Realm? Yi Mo asked in surprise. This was the first time he had heard of this. Yuxia quickly said Jia Kui Secret Realm is one of the biggest immortal spirit herb secret realms in the Grand Heaven domains. It has large amounts of high-level immortal spirit herb and opens every 10,000 years. Only those immortal king and below can go. I brought my martial sister here this time to go as well. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor nodded. That's right. There's large amounts of high-level immortal spirit herb every time. Sect leader Yi is an immortal pill Grand Master. You can buy some immortal spirit herb outside. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor was old and cunning. Seeing Yi Mo's slight change in expression when he said high-level immortal spirit herb, he immediately noticed what Yi Mo wanted. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor was old and cunning. Seeing Yi Mo's slight change in expression when he said high-level immortal spirit herb, he immediately noticed what Yi Mo wanted. Nong Xia heard this, and although not daring to ask Yi Mo, she was very extremely shocked. Yi Mo was now not only Immortal King, and didn't even fear Immortal Emperor. She even heard Nong Yen Immortal Emperor call Yi Mo sect leader, clearly meaning that Yi Mo started his own sect. On top of that, Yi Mo wasn't even scared of the four Grand Emperor, and his own sect had Immortal Emperor too. If this was shocking enough, Nong Yen Immortal Emperor's words that Yi Mo was an immortal pill Grand Master just turned her world upside down. Those who could be called Immortal Pill Grand Master could at least concoct level 7 Immortal Pill. How long has it been since Yi Mo reached the Immortal Realm? Even if he was constantly concocting pills, he wouldn't be able to reach level 7 Immortal Pill Grand Master. Haha, okay, I will definitely go by Immortal Spirit Herb. Yi Mo laughed. It wasn't that he couldn't reach level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master, but that he didn't have large amounts of level 9 Immortal Spirit Herbs. Without it, he couldn't practice it. It was fine that he couldn't go in the Jia Kui Secret Realm. He could buy things from outside. With his current power, who would dare to stop him buying Immortal Spirit Herb? Reaching level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master was extremely important to Yi Mo too. He had Emperor Carrot. If he didn't reach level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master, he couldn't concoct Taiwei Emperor Return Pill. His cultivation level was stuck now, but if he reached Immortal Monarch Peak Stage, the first thing he would do was to concoct the Emperor Pill. Plus, his Emperor Pill lacked a few supplementary Immortal Spirit Herbs. He needed to buy them too. Sect Leader Yi, I stay at Black Lightning Immortal Tower. If Sect Leader Yi just came, you can come stay there. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor invited. Yi Mo could tell that it was their own immortal tower. He waved his hand. I still have some business. We can meet when the secret realm opens again. Nong Yen Immortal Emperor saw this and saluted with his fists before leaving. Since Yu Xie was this familiar with Jia Kuei City, Yi Mo planned to ask her. So, he didn't ask Nong Yen, Immortal Emperor, about the auction. Yi Mo, how did you suddenly reach Immortal King? And you're not scared of Immortal Emperor? Yu Xiang immediately asked. Yu Xiang, I told you not to be so rude. Yu Xie approached. Yi Mo waved his hand to Yu Xie. He didn't like people like her. He would rather talk more to Yu Xiang. I just had some fortune. Yi Mo was then prepared to ask about Nie Shuang. Yu Xie seemed to know how Yi Mo felt, and said without being asked, when I woke Nie Shuang, I took her out once, and she was taken away. Who is it? Yi Mo's face sunk. He thought that finding Yu Xie meant he would be able to see Nie Shuang easily. He didn't have to take her away, but he had to see her at least. Yu Xie quickly explained, it's the Ice God Palace's second palace lord. She happened to come to Middle Heaven Domain and saw Nie Shuang. She immediately wanted to take Nie Shuang in as disciple. I didn't dare to say anything to the immortal god body, so I could only watch them take her away. At least Ice God Palace is an emperor's sect. It's better than having Shuang stay with me. Ice God Palace? Yi Mo immediately thought of the conflicts between him and the Ice God Palace. He killed the palace lord Lang Yin at the Heartless Sea. Plus, he got a small blue bead word in the Ice God Forbidden Grounds. There was an extremely beautiful woman in there called Qing Ru. Even now, Yi Mo still hasn't seen a woman with more perfect body than hers. Even Zhen Bingyu was at most on par with her. Thinking of Zhen Bingyu's perfect body, Yi Mo's heart rustled a bit. He shook his head. He had been with her for so long, and she even completely undressed in front of her and said she was willing, but he rejected her. Now that she wasn't with him, he was instead missing her. Yu Xie was a woman and caught Yi Mo's daze in expression. She believed the two were lovers. Thinking about this, she said, the three palace lords of the Ice God Palace are all immortal emperors. It's said there's also a grand immortal emperor. They're a top-level emperor sect in Qingwei Heaven. Ice God Palace is in Qingwei Heaven? Yi Mo asked in shock. Yu Xie immediately answered, Ice God Palace is a complicated sect. They have sects in the low and middle heaven domain, but then they disappeared. Only the grand heaven domain sect remains, and they rarely come out into the world. An emperor sect would have annihilated branches. Yi Mo asked in confusion. Yu Xie explained. At first, they only took in female disciples, but later started to take in male disciples. Their cultivation method is very unique, and male and female disciples started to cultivate together, causing some complications. Yi Mo didn't ask. He knew this complications meant lust. The original Ice God Palace is sacred and clean, but because of this situation, it made Ice God Palace no different to Demon Joy sect. Due to this, internal conflicts erupted, and this caused Ice God Palace to weaken. Yu Xie clearly knew this thing clearly and continued. After that, those elders who only wanted to take in female disciples left the Ice God Palace. Then, some powerful elders left, causing Ice God Palace to greatly weaken. Because their sect location was very good, the Ice God Palace was gradually annihilated in sect battles. The Ice God Palace in Qingwei Heaven was created by the elders who left. Yi Mo asked. Yu Xie nodded. Yes, those elders took away 90% of Ice God Palace's cultivation methods and heritage and established a new Ice God Palace. When the original Ice God Palace perished for countless years, the new Ice God Palace came out, but the new one was immortal emperor level. No sect dared to underestimate them. They are now a powerful emperor sect that only takes in female disciples. Where is the Ice God Palace located? Yi Mo asked. He had decided to go to Ice God Palace after this. He needed to go to Qingwei Heaven to test that Feng Kong Grand Emperor. No one knows the location of the Ice God Palace. They only know it's on top of an ice mountain in Qingwei Heaven. They detest men, and it's said if men appeared, near their sect, they would be killed immediately. With their power, even Wei Feng, Grand Emperor, didn't want to say much. Yi Mo didn't ask about the Ice God Palace anymore. Do you know if there's an auction in the city? Yu Xie breathed easy seeing that Yi Mo didn't keep asking about the Ice God Palace, because the Jia Kuei's secret realm is about to open in a few days. Today is the highest level auction in the city. Marshall's sister and I bought entrance tickets. It said there aren't many things, but everything is the top level items. Yi Mo immediately realized that purple robes really went to every big auction. Tonight, he had to get that stone stool. Yi Mo gave an extreme grade immortal sword to Yu Xie. Thanks for saving Shuang Shuang. This is for you. Then he gave a jade bottle to Yu Xiang. Hope you can reach Immortal King soon. And I need to go to the city now. After the secret realm opens, I'm going to buy Immortal Spirit Herb at the gate. If you get Immortal Spirit Herb inside, you can sell it to me. Then Yi Mo turned and disappeared. Marshall's sister, why is this Yi Mo this wealthy? He casually gave you an extreme grade immortal artifact. I think he wants to thank you for saving that Nie Shuang Shuang. Yu Xiang looked at the extreme grade immortal artifact in admiration. Marshall's sister, why is this Yi Mo this wealthy? He casually gave you an extreme grade immortal artifact. I think he wants to thank you for saving that Nie Shuang Shuang. Yu Xiang looked at the extreme grade immortal artifact in admiration. Yu Xie's face went red. She said Yi Mo would stop at Golden Immortal and gave him some pills and measly amount of immortal crystals, but now Yi Mo gave her an extreme grade immortal artifact. This was irony to the extreme. She didn't know that this extreme grade immortal artifact to Yi Mo was about the same as 10,000 low-grade immortal crystals that she gave to Yi Mo. Instead, the thing Yi Mo gave Yu Xiang was more valuable. After admiring her Marshall sister's extreme grade immortal artifact, Yu Xiang opened her jade bottle too. When she saw the immortal pill inside, she was dumbfounded and subconsciously exclaimed, "Yi King pill?" Yu Xiang was also dazed. She quickly grabbed the jade bottle and found it was an Yi King pill, a special grade one. Pack it up quickly, we need to go. Yu Xie subconsciously looked around and quickly grabbed Yu Xiang, followed the direction Yi Mo disappeared at. The biggest merchant tower in the Jia Kui Immortal City was the Xian Lan Merchant Tower. The square at its door was filled with people. The Jia Kuei's secret realm was about to open. Many people came to participate in the auction, but its caliber was extremely high. The entrance fee was 100K. Many people didn't want to pay that much. That amount could be used to buy a lot of things. These immortals set up all sorts of stalls outside the merchant tower to trade things, forming a popular temporary marketplace. When Yi Mo came to the entrance, the ordinary tickets were sold out. Only 500K immortal crystals front row seats were left. As for rooms, they were bought out by the sects coming here. Yi Mo didn't care. He just paid 500K immortal crystals and bought a front row seats. He came to this auction only to buy that stone stool. Other than this, he wouldn't care about anything else. He would only buy if there was level 9 immortal spirit herb, but Yi Mo knew that this auction was before the opening of the secret realm, so there would probably be less immortal spirit herbs. 4 hours later, the auction commenced. Yi Mo went in first. He knew that if the purple-robed man was going to fish, the stone stool wouldn't be coming out later on. That purple-robed immortal emperor wasn't going to waste much time here for it. There almost wasn't much difference between the 500K ticket and 100K ticket. Only the seat was more front and had a few simple blinds. These blinds couldn't even stop spirit sense. The auction grounds were huge. People sat on all sides. The stage was at the center, and its area was huge. There were formations on the side. Just the ticket earnings for this time was 10 billion. Yi Mo knew He wouldn't be staying in here for long, but he didn't care. This was his first time sitting in the hall of an auction. If it was before, he wouldn't dare to do this. Sometimes power could save you a lot of trouble. If one left the auction in the hall during the middle, then almost everyone could see, but if you were in a room, no one would know. People entered the auction grounds in an orderly fashion. People rarely used spirit sense to scan around. No one coming to the auction was a simple character. They hated people scanning around with spirit sense. Yi Mo wasn't going to scan with his spirit sense. Since that purple-robed immortal emperor came to Jakue Immortal City, he was probably here for the auction. 5 minutes later, everyone had come in, and the gates closed. In the center was a seductive great eternity immortal. She didn't wear much, but her clothes wrapped her body perfectly. Immediately, she became the center of attention. Thank you, Qian Bais, for coming to our Xian Lawn Merchant Tower for the auction. I'm the auctioneer for today, Han Yen. After this, an extremely powerful spirit sense swept the entire scene. This spirit sense scanned on Yi Mo, and Yi Mo immediately knew that this person was an immortal emperor tertiary stage. Everyone knew what this meant. There was an immortal emperor guarding this auction. Everyone on the auction had to follow the rules or suffer the consequences. But no one who came to the auction was stupid. No one would start trouble here. After that spirit sense wave, Han Yen smiled. This auction will have a mysterious item. It's one of the top items in the entire immortal realm. Han Yen believed that everyone would want it after seeing it. After saying this, even Yi Mo wanted to know what it was. This woman really knew how to entice people. Just when everyone hoped for her to say what the item was, she changed her tone. But this item will be coming later on. Please wait patiently, everyone. The first item of the auction today will be an emperor with blue fruit. This item is very hard to see in the immortal realm, and it can allow an immortal emperor to break through a level without no side effects. Han Yan's words immediately made some people excited, especially those immortal emperors and immortal monarchs. Even this fruit wasn't the top item. Just how amazing was that top item? Hearing this, Yi Mo was shocked. He didn't expect it to only be the start, and there to be such an item. There were some immortal emperors in the Grand Heaven Domain, but there weren't that many. One Heaven Domain had about 10 to 20. A powerful Heaven Domain would have no more than 50. What shocked Yi Mo the most was that someone recognized this fruit. He could recognize it due to Kai's jade slip. Now that someone else recognized it too, then it meant other divine emperors saw this fruit. People started bidding immediately, and the bids clearly came from the rooms. The price soon reached 5 billion immortal crystals and an extreme grade immortal range. Even ordinary monarch sects wouldn't be able to afford this price, the extreme grade immortal range part. But Yi Mo knew that this price wasn't high for people who went to that palace. Eventually the price settled at that. This was mainly because Yi Mo took almost all the extreme grade immortal ranges off the immortal emperors. Now that these immortal emperor came back to the immortal realm, of course they would use the immortal ranges for their cultivation home and sect. Yi Mo was certain that this immortal emperor paying this extreme grade immortal range definitely came from the palace, or he wouldn't be this wealthy. I will be auctioning the second item now. The great eternity immortal female immortal purposely stopped for a while and gathered everyone's attention before she continued. The second item is a half-god artifact, a defensive one. Yao Lang Abyssal Mist Seal. The starting price is 200 million immortal crystals. Each increment must be no less than 10 million. Then, the Great Eternity Immortal Female Immortal Raised a Palm-Sized Seal. It had this faint mist surrounding it. It was obvious this seal wasn't ordinary. Yi Mo could see that too, but he didn't want to buy it. He had a broken octagonal cauldron. If he repaired it, it was a god artifact, and one much stronger than this seal. Then, the great eternity, immortal female, immortal raised a palm-sized seal. It had this faint mist surrounding it. It was obvious this seal wasn't ordinary. Yi Mo could see that too, but he didn't want to buy it. He had a broken octagonal cauldron. If he repaired it, it was a god artifact, and one much stronger than this seal. Many people bited on this item, and the price soared from 200 million to 500 million, and was eventually bought by someone in a room. The subsequent items were all beyond Yi Mo's anticipation. Even he didn't expect the items would be of such high caliber. Although there were a few things Yi Mo wanted, he resisted the urge to buy. Before acquiring the stone stool, he didn't want to do anything to garner attention. Yi Mo noticed that the things were getting better and better, and clearly other people noticed this too. The auction was getting more and more heated. Level 8 runes, level 8 immortal pill, and even one level 9 beast core. Other people were getting more and more excited, but Yi Mo was getting more and more anxious. According to his estimates, the stone stool should be out now, but it was nowhere to be seen. Yi Mo thought about the man giving up on this fishing tactic. After all, it was no secret now, but this was the best method for him. Since there was such a huge auction here, and the purple-robed man was here, why hasn't the stone stool appeared yet? If it wasn't that he might offend everyone. Yi Mo even wanted to scan all the rooms in this auction with his spirit sense. I believe everyone is very happy with this auction, but I need to tell everyone that the climax is just about to begin. The next item is the mysterious item I spoke about. Before I show it, please allow me to introduce it. This great eternity, immortal female, immortal used tactics to gather attention on her again before saying everyone knows that in the immortal realm, what decides how high one can reach is whether they have a good cultivation method or not, and cultivation resources or fortunes. But these are secondary. I believe everyone knows the main reason. That's right, immortal spirit root. Without a good immortal spirit root, no matter how much resources and fortunes you have, you can't reach higher levels. Immortal spirit root is settled after conversion to immortal essence. Who can change it? Is there an item that can change immortal spirit root being auctioned? Someone asked immediately. When cultivators ascended to the immortal realm, their spirit root would convert to immortal spirit root. Usually, the element of the spirit root wouldn't change, but during the conversion process, many people would get impurities causing a prodigy in the cultivation realm to become an ordinary person in the immortal realm. Of course, some people would get better immortal spirit root after the conversion. These people are highly sought after by the big sections. Although the immortal realm had treasures that changed immortal spirit root, they are rarer here compared to the cultivation realm. Not even immortal emperors may be able to get it, much less ordinary people. Even immortal emperors desperately needed things that could change their immortal spirit root. Seeing the atmosphere of the auction was at an all-time high. The great eternity, immortal female, immortal continued. The following item isn't an immortal spirit herb that can change immortal spirit root. Before people could ask, she continued, this is a prenatal immortal ice spirit root, female immortal, whose cultivation essence hasn't converted yet. With this, the auction erupted. Prenatal meant that this was a spirit root coming with birth. At the start, one couldn't see the cultivation speed of the spirit root, but after reaching disaster transformation state, the cultivation speed would suddenly skyrocket. After ascending to the immortal realm, the spirit root wouldn't change at all. It would only get more and more pure. Because this spirit root is immortal spirit root, after ascending to the immortal realm and the cultivation essence wasn't converted to immortal essence, the spirit root could be stolen. The way to do that was simple, just one dual cultivation. However, once the cultivator started cultivating immortal realm cultivation method and converted cultivation essence to immortal essence, this would no longer work. There were other ways of taking the prenatal immortal spirit roots, but dual cultivation was the most direct and simple way. One could imagine that if a cultivator took this prenatal immortal ice spirit root away, then even the worst spirit root immortal wouldn't have to worry about cultivation speed. With such spirit root, even if you didn't have much cultivation resources, there was hope of reaching Tao. The great eternity immortal female immortal suddenly waved her hand, and a figure appeared next to her. An extremely beautiful woman wearing blue flowery dress appeared before everyone. Her face was pitiful, but she was clearly subjugated. Such a beautiful cultivator. Some people exclaimed. People already started asking about the price. The prenatal ice spirit root was already a huge surprise, and yet she was such a beautiful female immortal. Yi Mo knew all this too, and he was amazed that the auction could even obtain such a cultivator. But when Yi Mo saw the female immortal through the projection, his face changed. Without a thought, he torn open the formation at the auction stage and grabbed the female immortal into his arms while kicking away that great eternity immortal female immortal. This all happened in less than a second, and that great eternity immortal female immortal was kicked away, spitting blood. How dare you start trouble at our Xian Lan merchant tower? Die. A cold voice sounded, and at the same time, a powerful immortal emperor domain came down. The immortal emperor tertiary stage pressure made all the immortals here feel hard to breath. Everyone used their cultivation method to defend against such pressure while cursing Yi Mo for being an idiot who didn't want good things. If people could rob things in an auction, then this world would be in chaos. All the good things would belong to the divine emperors. The immortal emperor didn't even attack Yi Mo. Yi Mo was a mere immortal king middle stage. He wasn't worth it. At this moment, the 4 immortal monarchs on the side had charged on the stage and attacked Yi Mo. 1 immortal king middle stage, but 4 immortal monarch attacking together. One could see how tight this auction was. Yi Mo sneered. His powerful immortal monarch domain expanded out, and at the same time, Zissou let out a purple ring. The ring flashed, and 4 blood arrows flew on the stage before landing on the ground. Clap. 8 claps sounded, and the 4 immortal monarchs turned into 8 pieces of bodies. No essence spirit seeped out. Clearly their essence spirit was annihilated in that strike. The auction scene fell silent. No one made a sound. The people here weren't simple. There were many immortal monarchs and immortal emperor in the rooms. The auction scene fell silent. No one made a sound. The people here weren't simple. There were many immortal monarchs and immortal emperor in the rooms. But Yi Mo's strike silenced everyone, killing 4 immortal monarchs in just a few seconds. No matter how strong these immortal monarchs were, Yi Mo's strike was the pinnacle god art of the immortal realm. Even an immortal emperor was at most like this. People realized that this thing wasn't so simple. Clearly, it was an immortal emperor who killed the 4 immortal monarchs on the stage. He just hid his power to immortal king. There were some strange immortal emperors who didn't want rooms and instead sat in the hall. This was no strange thing. Some immortal emperors in the room had recognized Yi Mo. Many of them stayed in that palace with Yi Mo. They knew Yi Mo was hard to mess with and wasn't simple. Nong Yen, immortal emperor, saw Yi Mo too. He was surprised. Yi Mo was strong, but no matter how strong he was, he wouldn't be able to challenge a big guy like Xian Lan Merchant Tower, right? They had 3 immortal emperors and a mysterious supporter. This immortal emperor tertiary stage of the Merchant Tower realized things didn't seem to be right. He immediately flew down to the stage. He was no idiot. He knew Yi Mo was no immortal king. Can an immortal king kill 4 immortal monarchs with 1 strike? This guy was not only not an immortal king, but an immortal emperor who was no weaker than him, or maybe even stronger. I'm Xian Lan Merchant Tower Sha, you immortal emperor. Who are you? Why are you starting trouble at our auction? Even if you're an immortal emperor peak, You will be held responsible for the incident today." The immortal emperor fell on the stage and asked, Yi Mo, was an immortal emperor stronger than him? The later he attacked, the more it benefited him. He wasn't the only immortal emperor at the Merchant Tower, but because the caliber of this auction was too high, he came to guard here, as he was the strongest. Yi Mo ignored this immortal emperor. When he saw this selling item was Tang Beiwei, his fury was completely ignited. Even if the 4 grand emperors were here all in front of him, he would still kill, much less a merchant tower with a few immortal emperors. When Tang Beiwei saw Yi Mo, there was only excitement and endless joy. Her nose felt sour and tears welled up in her eyes. There were thousands of things she wanted to say, but she couldn't speak a thing. Yi Mo instantly released Tang Beiwei's restriction when the immortal emperor spoke. "Brother?" Tang Beiwei ran into Yi Mo's arms. She could no longer hold her emotions and bitterness. She had been separated from Yi Mo for 200 years. She thought she would never be able to see her brother again. But when she was at her most helpless time, her brother appeared before her. She didn't care about all the eyes glancing at her. She was only thinking that if she could see her brother before she died, she would have no regrets. When Yi Mo really appeared before her, she thought it was an illusion. But feeling Yi Mo's arms, she knew this was real. "Beiwei, it's my fault. I didn't take care of you guys." Yi Mo felt very bad. Tang Beiwei heard Yi Mo's voice and began crying out loud like a child. Finally, she found her family. Finally, she found a shoulder she could rely on. She could only keep crying to express her happiness and bitterness at the same time. This title made everyone realize what happened. No wonder this immortal emperor killed people in fury. The auction was selling his little sister. Could an immortal emperor's sister be sold at an auction? No immortal emperor would be able to take that. Those greedy glances at Tang Beiwei immediately disappeared. Sha Yu, immortal emperor, dazed. He completely didn't understand why an immortal emperor still had a newly ascended little sister. This was too absurd. If they weren't real brothers and sisters, this female immortal wouldn't be able to express such genuine feelings. Sha Yu, immortal emperor, soon cast this thought aside and casually saluted with his fist. "Yi Mo, Dao friend, we didn't know we were selling your sister. We're very sorry about this, but we didn't capture her. Someone else captured her and sent her over. After seeing her, you can pay our price and take her away, but you tore open our formation and killed 4 of our immortal monarch. Do you think you're the strongest in the immortal realm? We don't have many immortal emperors, but we have 3. Yi Mo took out a pill to Tang Beiwei and said coldly, "Xian Lan Merchant Tower? That's in the past. From today on, there will be now Xian Lan Merchant Tower in the immortal realm." If he didn't happen to see his sister being caught, her end would be tragic. Yi Mo didn't want to reason with Sha Yu, immortal emperor. If he didn't have enough power, Sha Yu, immortal emperor, wasn't going to reason with him. Even so, he was asking for compensations. Hearing Yi Mo's words, Sha Yu, immortal emperor, was furious. His terrifying immortal emperor domain expanded. Yi Mo waved his hand and sent out Shadowless, who was talking shit in the Golden Page world. As soon as Shadowless came out, he opened his mouth, and that powerful grand immortal emperor domain was crippled. Sha Yu, immortal emperor, was shocked, but Yi Mo already punched over. God, art shatter space. The terrifying lethal force whirlpool instantly swept the auction grounds. The sound of space tearing shook people's hearts. It was as though the next moment, this space would be crushed by Yi Mo. Some low-level immortals were spitting blood despite this god. Art wasn't targeted at them. The immortals rushed out of the auction grounds out onto the square. Other than some immortals who didn't want trouble, most immortals stayed at the square. Who wanted to miss the grand battles between immortal emperors? Those immortal emperors in the rooms didn't leave. Even some immortal monarchs didn't leave. They wanted to see this battle. When his domain was bit open by Shadowless, Sha Yu, immortal emperor, knew that if he didn't use Black Snow Return Life, he was going to lose. This immortal emperor was stronger than him, but now there was an even more absurd immortal spirit beast who could devour domain. He didn't even know what this immortal spirit beast was, but now he didn't have the time to think. Yi Mo's shatter space was too terrifying. All the seats and blinds in here were torn to dust. Even the rooms upstairs were beginning to crack. In another second, they were pulverized too. These powders didn't fall on the ground, and instead joined the lethal force whirlpool and smashed towards him. The people in the rooms retreated, but no one intervened, as that would mean helping Sha Yu, immortal emperor, attacking Yi Mo. Even those who didn't know Yi Mo didn't want to offend a powerful immortal emperor like Yi Mo now. Even people from the merchant towers started fleeing. His god art lethal force whirlpool had been gathered within a certain range. Otherwise, with his current power, he could clap away the entire immortal city easily. Sha Yu, immortal emperor, felt the lethal force whirlpool was formed by 9 space lethal forces. When it swept over, he felt it wasn't 9, but 90 or 900. It had the power and madness to destroy everything. Sha Yu, immortal emperor, regretted a little, but he wasn't slow or retaliation. A black 3-cornered flag and a blue bell was released. There was this whimpering sound as soon as the black flag was released. Even Tang Beiwei, who was protected completely by Yi Mo, began to daze. Those immortals outside couldn't stop this sound at all. Some people even stabbed into their chests with their own hands. Some immortal emperors could tell that Sha Yu, immortal emperor's magic artifact was half-god artifact, tendon-breaking, twisted god flag. Once released, even some weak-willed immortal emperor would lose their minds for a short time. Some immortal emperors could tell that Sha Yu, immortal emperor's magic artifact was half-god artifact, tendon-breaking, twisted god flag. Once released, even some weak-willed immortal emperor would lose their minds for a short time. Sha Yu, immortal emperor, used this flag to create a huge name for himself. More than a few immortal emperors had died in his hands. Sha Yu felt threatened by Yi Mo and didn't want to fight with him, but that wasn't because he was afraid of Yi Mo. His flag could control people's minds, and Yi Mo didn't look very old. Even if Yi Mo's power wasn't weak, his mind cultivation definitely wasn't adequate. However, what shocked him was that Yi Mo wasn't affected by the flag at all. Instead, the shatter space fist force was growing. At the same time, Yi Mo yelled, "Shadowless." Without a need for this calling, Shadowless already opened his mouth and bit to the flag. The whimpering sounds immediately disappeared. However, the lethal force whirlpool became even more terrifying. When everyone had left this place, the merchant tower shook, and this grand merchant tower was swept in the lethal force whirlpool too, forming a terrifying flow striking toward Sha Yu, immortal emperor. The immortals who retreated to the square immediately knew that Yi Mo intentionally gathered force and didn't release. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to leave at all. Rumble. Yi Mo's shatter space finally struck with Sha Yu, immortal emperor's blue bell. A terrifying sound swept over the place. Sha Yu, immortal emperor, felt his blue bell pause, and he immediately knew things weren't good. Yi Mo's domain was more fierce than he had imagined. Meanwhile, his domain shattered due to Shadowless. Clank, clank. Although the blue bell stopped the shatter space fist force, the blue bell was struck away under the pressure of Yi Mo's domain. The fist force was blocked, but the remaining lethal force whirlpool still struck Sha Yu, immortal emperor. In that instant, a huge ravine appeared below his feet. Sha Yu, immortal emperor, also spat many mouthfuls of blood. Thud. The merchant tower that was powdered by Yi Mo fell into the huge ravine. All the immortals on the square could hear the terrifying rumble and the flying dusts. A few watching immortal emperors waved their hands, and the dust disappeared. Now, the audience finally saw that the previously erect merchant tower was suddenly gone. A ravine that wasn't completely filled up took its place. Just how many treasures would a merchant tower have? But it was now destroyed and buried underground. Sha Yu saw the extremely dimmed down flag and was very shocked. He thought that even if he was no match for Yi Mo, the difference wasn't too great. But after that clash, he immediately knew that he was far weaker than this immortal emperor. "Stop!" Sha Yu, immortal emperor, immediately called out. Yi Mo acted as though he didn't hear it and said to Shadowless, "Shadowless, take care of Bei Wei." Then he stepped in air and struck out Zisu. A 3,000-meter-long purple sword ray struck down. A ravine appeared in midair, as though space was severed in half. The nearby space all fell into that ravine. Li Long, immortal emperor, knew that Yi Mo only hacked out less than 5% of his full power. He had seen Yi Mo's strike reach 30 kilometers, but now it was only 3 kilometers. Clearly Yi Mo didn't want to damage the immortal city. Even so, the force of this purple sword rays made people nearby not even dare to look at it. Some low-powered people didn't even dare to scan their spirit sense. The sword force was still gathering, but the ground beneath had completely cracked and was getting deeper and wider. Sha Yu, immortal emperor's face was green. How could he not know that Yi Mo wanted to kill him? He was shocked and furious. He didn't understand how this random guy had no concerns at all killing an immortal emperor in the immortal city. He was more furious that there were so many immortal emperors watching, and no one came up. Even his best friend, Demon Joy Sect Xianfeng, immortal emperor, pretended that he didn't see anything. The pressure from the purple sword ray was getting more and more terrifying, and his immortal emperor domain was beginning to cripple again. Sha Yu, immortal emperor, couldn't worry about other things now. His flag whimpered again, and in half a second, black snow flowers started raining. When everyone saw these black snow flowers, it was as though these snow didn't land on the ground, but on their hearts. A few weaker, level great immortals who stared at the battle didn't even make a sound, and palmed the top of their head. The black snow flower didn't float into Tang Beiwei's sight yet, and Shadowless roared, devouring the snow flowers. Sizzling sounds arose. Those black snowflower looked weak, but when they landed on the powerful purple sword ray, the sword ray paused, and even the space near it began to slow down. Yi Mo frowned. He didn't expect the black snowflowers would be able to do this. He felt this uneasiness feeling in his heart. A light wind blew past, and Yi Mo felt those black snowflowers slowly surround him. They carried this extremely melancholic whimper. In that instant, Yi Mo resonated with that feeling. These snowflowers should be white, but due to that endless sorrow, they became black. How could he hurt them? Yi Mo almost couldn't resist touching that black snowflower. He almost couldn't resist walking towards them. It was as though Qing Shue, Luo Ying, Yi Mo, and them were there. All the figures he had seen flew past him. "Hold me tight, I have mobility rune," Luo Ying said as she took him out of Magical Herb Sect. "If I jump off, would you jump off with me?" It was Luo Xian. How was she now? Where was she? "Husband, I'll go wherever you go." Xiaoyan called. 3 birth eternal. The name is eternity. His immortal king naming. But why did he feel something was wrong? Just what was wrong? Sha Yu, immortal emperor's face was pale. When he used black snow return life, he saw Yi Mo days. He saw that sword rays slowed down. Yi Mo was slowly walking towards him, as though he had lost his mind. There was a cruel look on Sha Yu, immortal emperor's face. A yellow beam shot out. "Little sister, wait. Boss is in trouble." Shadowless immediately noticed something was wrong with Yi Mo. Yi Mo's killing intent on the sword ray was disappearing. This wasn't how the boss did things, Boss never showed mercy once he attacked. Shadowless flew in and bit down. The endless black snow immediately crippled, forming a black stream towards Shadowless's mouth. Crack! A spear ray appeared in Yimo's eyes. Yimo suddenly woke up. The three-birth chant flowed freely again too. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.